2, 3. Welcome to the Disc Golf Collector Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
This week we have Josh Dick. He's a long-time disc golfer around here. Long time.
Not as long as some others around here, but
Yeah,
around a minute or two.
You've done a lot around here. I've seen what you've done, and I appreciate all of it.
Thanks.
I know, like in the last couple of years, you kind of been doing a lot of family stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's what's necessary.
Yeah,
Totally
have to do what you have to
understand
do,
that.
right?
You do, absolutely. And so I think we're going to start off like we usually do. We start with how many years have you played?
Gotcha. First played disc golf in 2003. My love of disc in general started back in high school and college with just frisbee. Playing ultimate. I used to, when I went to school at WVU, I actually took a frisbee class as an elective.
That's awesome.
They offered that as one of the classes. So in winter we actually basically went down to Stansbury Hall, which is the old basketball court where Jerry West made famous, flinging discs around there. And then the spring we would go out and play in the field where the old Mountaineer field used to be. But then in 2003, shortly after I graduated there, a buddy, a mutual friend of ours, Jonah Anderson, was still going to grad school there at the time. And he told me about a disc golf course that was close by up in Jimonville Glen, which is right outside of Uniontown. And so let's go play. And I'm like, sure, disc golf, this sounds fun. Had never heard of it before. And we drove up there, and I think at the time he only had a couple discs, and he let me borrow one. It was a driver or something, not sure what disc it was. But we played this course with no course map, and we just kind of stumbled our way and found our way. And the crazy thing about that course at the time, which I didn't know any difference, was that they had wooden homemade baskets. So their baskets were homemade, made out of wood. They had chains, of course, and come to learn later that that's not the standard.
So were they cut like rings cut out, or like things bent?
So the pole was a wooden pole, and basically the baskets were in the top were constructed out of wood. I can't remember exactly how they did it.
But it wasn't like raw like branches and stuff that were curved or
I honestly can't remember. I wish there was pictures of them out there. I actually was looking yesterday to see if they're on like the old disc golf course review. That's one of the old review sites that you find a lot of pictures from old courses from back in the day, and there was none out there. But just remember that they were made out of wood. They've since upgraded the baskets and changed the layout out there, I guess, a couple of years ago, and I've yet to make my way back to play it, which is crazy because shortly after that I moved up outside Uniontown, and after that, those first couple of times we played in 2003, I didn't play disc golf for about 4 years.
Oh, wow.
I started getting back into it. I lived up in Uniontown, and I moved back to Parkersburg back in 2007. Jonah moved back to Parkersburg about the same time, and that's when he told me about the course out at Mountwood.
Nice.
And that was the old 9-hole course that was put in back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
90s.
You know who did
I
that?
think Craig Piles.
Yeah.
Craig Piles. He was a guy that me and Jimmy went to high school with.
Yeah.
He was the manager of the park at the time.
He was, yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
so
That's pretty cool.
He's responsible for Blennerhassett Island now, and they're trying to get a course put in there. They put in an acquisition for baskets
Wow.
through the state.
wow, yeah.
For recreation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not easily accessible, but awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's a little soggy over there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we used to, once I played that Mountwood course with Jonah, I was hooked.
Yeah.
Same deal, had a driver at that time.
Yeah.
Jonah used to beat me every time. I literally must have played against him 50, 60 times before I finally beat him, which, to me was very frustrating because I'm a very competitive person. But yeah, it started at Mountwood. I remember, playing that course and coming to the old hole number 9, and the local of Mountwood at that time to me was Adam Sams. That's when I first met Adam.
That's awesome.
And I remember Adam telling me about number 9 is a mandatory, and when you would play the 9-hole loop twice. One time, or the first 9 you had to throw to the right of the tree in the middle, and the second time you had to throw to the left. And I'm like, I'm going to throw whatever side I want to throw on. Mandatory. Like, I've never heard of such a rule. It's stupid. But You know, once
I know people that do know the rule and think it's stupid.
Right. True. Well, some mando trees are stupid. I kid, Joe. I kid.
Come on.
Hey, on my course, I probably have a couple that people think are dumb.
If you
Yeah.
like hole 13, you don't like disc golf. That's what a local legend once said.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mount Wood, and then of course I think the next course I played was Forked Run, and that really opened my eyes to you know the potential, what is considered a good disc golf course. And then shortly after that, the original 9 holes went in at Broughton's,
Okay.
which is I think it was in for maybe a year or two before they brought the additional, made it 18 and then redesigned
Yeah.
that course. And so that was probably about 2008, I do believe,
Think
when
so,
I
yeah. I think
started
that's
playing
what I
that
used to
course a
say.
lot.
Yeah.
And then around, I think it was the following years when Lee started running his handicap leagues. I don't know if you heard about his handicap leagues that he used to run back in the day, but they were
Sounds fun.
a pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
Basically
We did that in Washington. I love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think at the time, I think he ran it through Disc Golf United. Yeah, it
Okay.
was a website and a service that you had to pay like a $10 one-time fee, and once you got a certain amount of rounds in for the course,
Right.
it developed a handicap for you.
Yeah.
So the
He
concept,
did that a couple years ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
concept of that league was to from advanced players down to rec players, put everybody on an even playing field,
Yeah.
and you play against your handicap. And I think he
Right.
did that 2009 and 2010. So that's when I kind of got into the competition
Right.
side of things. And I think I can't remember. I think the first tournament I played in was maybe I know I played in the what was called the Summer Showdown. I think was one of the first tournaments he put on there. I think I played in the second one in either 2009 or 2010, and then from there got involved with the Mid Ohio Valley Disc Golf Club. Played in a lot of their local events, their unsanctioned stuff, and
Right.
used to,
When was the first time they started sanctioning anything?
that was I think I honestly don't know like what year or when the beginning. Scott and Mike Buchanan really formed the club and started running. I mean, of course, you have the Ohio River Open.
Right.
This is one of the first tournaments. I think in its early infancy was called the River Bear. is what
Yeah,
it used
I
to be
have
called.
heard that. Yeah.
And I don't know if it was sanctioned when it was the River Bear or what year they sanctioned it for the first time. But I'm assuming that would be the first time that the Mid Ohio Valley Disc Golf Club had a sanctioned tournament at
Gotcha.
Forked Run. But I don't know what year.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like that. Those were some good times playing with those guys and playing all the tournaments. I think the tournaments they had the Mount Wood Monster
Yeah.
was an annual one. They had the year always kicked off with the Forked Run Freeze Out.
Yeah.
At a Forked Run. Cedar Lake Splash came early in there. I don't think it was one of the first ones they did. They had the turkey toss.
Yeah.
There might have been another one.
That was the
there.
first tournament I ever went to when I moved here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And love that one. Yeah. I think I've been to it every year since.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think the first time I met you was at one of the Cedar Lakes tournaments.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hit that. I've been to that almost every year too.
Gotcha.
You were
I
kind of
lose-
running it
I
when
lose
Abby
this.
was there. You were helping out.
Well, that was a different tournament though. That wasn't Scott's tournament. That was the Give a Flick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the charity
Gotcha.
event down
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so was involved with the Mid Ohio Valley Disc Golf Club there for a couple of years, and as a kid I grew up in Williamstown, and as a kid I used to go fishing out at Veteran. Well, growing up it was actually called Memorial Park, as Jimmy. I've known Jimmy since I was 5 years old. We're both Williamstown kids, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you used to go out to that park as a kid.
Oh yeah.
But my dad used to take me out there going fishing, and I think it was like 2011. I hadn't been there since I was a kid, and I was really into disc golf and thinking about we've got Broughton's, which was okay at the time, and Mount Wood was still the 9-hole course. I was like, man, we really need another course around here. And around that time, Paul Ashmore, I don't know if you know Paul, but
He sounds familiar.
he's a guy up in the Wheeling area, Moundsville area, that started that kind of group up there with a course up there, the black course, the yellow course, the white
Yeah,
course. He, at that time, had reached out to the state and got a grant
Okay.
to build the black course or the yellow course, one of the courses he got up there, got the baskets paid for.
Right.
And that idea. So I was like, man, I wonder if we could do that. So I thought of Veterans Park. So I went out there with my wife and dog and walked the park, and it's like, this would be a perfect place to put a course in. And I kind of like walked the park and designed my own layout. And then I went and told Scott Van Meter, I was like, Scott, you need to go out to Veterans Park, check this place out. I think it's perfect for a disc golf course. Paul Ashmore recently just got a grant through the state of West Virginia to
Yeah.
pay for all the baskets. You should look into that. And of course, Scott, he ran with it.
Yeah.
He went out there, designed, did his own layout, do what Scott does.
Yeah.
And, got a hold of the state. And not only did he, at the time, got money for that course, he got money for the Mountwood Park course.
Oh, wow.
So that's how those courses came to be.
Wow.
Scott
That's
just
great.
running with it,
Yeah.
and so, he redesigned, the layout out at Mountwood
Yeah.
and did the, the layout of their veterans. So that's how
That's
those.
awesome.
how
So,
those
so
came to be.
Scott went in and redesigned Mountwood.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
originally designed Vets.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Mountwood.
definitely
Yeah.
one of my
The
favorites
original
right
Mountwood
here.
layout, the area that it was at originally. I think there was a archery range or something that had an agreement with the park that they wanted to go in there. So Scott steered clear of that area
Yeah.
and then utilized, the back part of the park there, which is a better area
Right.
for sure for that course. And
Yeah.
so those are fun times, helping Scott and the club out there cut, and
Yeah.
of course Scott did the majority of the work,
Yeah.
as he always does. But
Yeah.
spent a lot of time out there, cutting. I think I did a lot of work on hole number 2 at Vets and hole 8 in the early days, and then of course Mountwood was just like that was a project.
Yeah.
Didn't really do much. Did a couple holes, helped with a couple holes in the back 9, but most of the front 9 there. But yeah, and then about that time, I really just got the bug in my head, like, man, I want to run tournaments. I want to do this.
Yeah.
I saw Scott and Lee. I think about that time Lee kind of was, he hit it hard from that league and ran those tournaments, and then I don't know if he got burned out, but he kind of phased out for a while.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, man, I want to do my own thing, and but I wasn't on the level locally, I feel like I was stepping on people's toes, to
Yeah.
kind of want to run stuff locally. So I thought, well, what's the closest course that I could get in with, to run tournaments? And that happened to be the Timber Doodle.
Nice.
I'm not sure what year the Timber Doodle. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I have. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. James McDonald had a tournament there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's party time.
Oh,
invitation?
yeah.
Yeah.
Fun
Two-time
times.
champ now. Uh-oh.
Nice.
Got my second victory here.
Nice.
Shout out to James.
Yeah.
Great time always at his tournaments. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always good. Time.
yeah, hit up, Al and Mike, the owner. Well, Mike's the owner of the property up there, and Al was like the
Caretaker.
caretaker greenskeeper.
Yeah.
He met
Yeah.
me.
I went up in, I think it was 2012, spring of 2012. Yeah, we've been up there a couple times, and they had an annual tournament up there that they ran each year, but like nobody ever showed up. They
Yeah.
put all this work every year. They get the course, all looking great, and they made these custom, trophies and everything. And they went all out, and maybe like 4 or 5 people would show up every year. So I went up and was like, got with Mike, and I was like, hey man, like I'm wanting to get into, running tournaments. I want to.
It's not on UDisc.
No, it's definitely not on there. And,
Right.
and I haven't spoke to Al in probably 3 years now, and I've heard, last I've heard that it's not there anymore.
Right.
I don't
It's
know
out.
if the, I don't
It's
know if
out
the
here.
baskets.
It's about
Yeah,
right
it's-
in there
It's in the
somewhere.
middle. It's in the middle of
Uh-huh.
nowhere.
Yeah. It is.
I remember the zig and the zag and right in
There's
there.
no cell service out there. Let's put it that way. And it's always debatable whether you're going to be able to access the creek to get into the joint
Mhm.
because there's a creek.
4-wheel
out the
drive
cross.
works out good.
Yeah.
My wife's car, I parked it. I didn't stay that time, but I just parked on the other side of the road.
So yeah, so they said sure. They wanted more. They wanted more exposure for the course. They were like, have tournament here, and so that's where the concept of head change disc golf,
Yeah.
originally began. And the first tournament I did there was called the Throwdown of the Thicket, and that was in 2012.
I've seen that one.
I had a big vision. I remember getting hold of Innova, and I ordered like 200 discs. I'm like, oh man, I gotta have 200 discs. There's gonna be so many people there, and I think 30 some people showed up at the time. But it was great, and I think that turned into a great relationship with those guys. I think over the next 4 years, I think I did 8 tournaments there. I ended up doing one in the spring called the Day at the Doodle,
Oh.
and then one in the fall called the Throwdown of the Thicket. And we never had a huge turnout. That was a haul to get out there. It was a lot of people didn't make the track.
Yeah.
And it was always debatable. Like I said, that was one of my biggest anxieties that I had running that tournament was if there was rain,
Yeah.
you couldn't get into the place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to put the tournament on. All these people are going to show up and they're not even going to be able to get into the joint.
Have them parked out on the road.
And you couldn't call them because once you're up there, there's no cell service. It was always a sketchy proposition on that one. There's Corey back in the day.
Okay.
Blasting one. That was one of the par fours. I think this is one of the best drives I've ever seen on this hole. Yeah. Corey and Greg, they always used to come up and play at my tournaments back in the day.
I remember a similar hole to that anyway. You
Yeah,
can see why it's called the thicket.
Oh yeah, and this one's on top of the hill. If you go left, you're way down.
Oh my!
Yeah, so he got through clean.
I remember playing Glow going right down through there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him.
That was so much
I
fun.
think this is Eagle Pike here. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he makes this. But yeah, the thicket was a big party. We'd always go up the night before.
Yeah.
We'd build a. Oh no, he didn't make it. Okay.
Oh.
We'd build a bonfire. We'd play Glow up on the hilltop the night before Glow doubles.
Yeah.
And then everybody was hungover, and the next day was always a struggle after the party the night before. But yeah, I had many good memories up there, man.
Yeah.
I tried to call their number the other day to check in with Al, and it's no longer in service. So I might just have to. I mean, it's about an hour, 15-minute from here. I might have to roll up there and just take a chance to see, if he's up there still or what's going on.
What's this one?
What hole is this? I want to think this is hole 15. What's it say on the side there? Oh yeah, about 17. Yeah, that's next to last hole there. Yeah. Again, over the back here is literally, a cliff side. It was on a cliff side. There was a lot of.
Wow.
I love it.
Sketchy.
It's very squatchy.
Yeah.
Oh, this course is very squatchy, and it has the same
baskets.
Same
yeah, I
baskets
just noticed that. And look at that big ass pile of rocks on there. That's just what we did
it's
too.
Very squatchy, yeah, and it's very tight. I think the property up there was about 30 acres, and the course set on about 25 acres. So it was a tight setup, You're busting out all the oldies here, man. I haven't seen these videos. This was their signature hole up here. This was hole number 8. Again, you're throwing extremely downhill to that tight gap. The camera doesn't show you the elevation change, but this was a beautiful hole. My favorite hole. One of my favorite holes that I've ever played in disc golf. And there's Al.
Travis with no ponytail.
Yeah. Very younger days. So yeah, I did the no chains. You see that? No chains at all.
All the way around. That was crazy.
Yeah, no chains on that one. Yeah, man. Yeah, so that was the beginning of Head Change Disc Golf, and the reason why I chose the name Head Change is I'm a musician and I've been in a band ever since about 2003, about the same time up there in Morgantown, called the Head Changers. So it was just kind of play off those words, and
I've definitely heard your music. I enjoy it every time I hear it.
It's that jam band vibe going on. We've actually we've taken off and on breaks throughout the years, and we've been playing the past couple weeks trying to get back together. This is from a festival we did up in Ohio last year.
Nice.
Yeah, but
we can't hear it. It's the only problem.
It's not that good.
Oh, I'd love to hear it. I was telling him that I need to steal a couple tracks from you that I could play during a round, so that I could
I've got plenty of it.
Not have copyright people hit me whenever I post my videos.
We do all
at the
original,
end.
so there's no copyright stuff.
All right.
Speaking of copyright, that's one of the things I learned with Head Change Disc Golf. Head Change. My original idea was to get into things like putting artwork on discs and shirts, and this is I'm looking at the monitor up there. It's my logo up there.
I love that.
Yeah, the logo was done by a guy named Brian Pickens, who's he's a member of the Morgantown Mountain Goats. He's an old buddy of mine from the Morgantown days, back in the day. He's a killer artist. Look him up on Instagram if you want to check out some great artwork. Brian Pickens, his name. He also has a company called Made in West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Which it does West Virginia theme apparel, which is really popular, and he's got some really good stuff. But he's done some killer artwork for me over the years for Head Change. He did a Mountwood Monster logo back in the day that one of the tournaments Scott had there. The players pack was an Nalgene bottle.
Yeah.
that had the Mountwood Monster logo on the side of it. There's
I
not
think
too
I've
many
seen that one.
floating out
Yeah.
there, and Brian did that. But yeah.
Yeah.
So in 2015, I took Head Change to the quote unquote next level. Here he is, made in West Virginia. That's what it is.
Nice.
That's the
And,
man.
that's the man right there, the myth, the legend. He's incredible. He's a muralist. I mean, he's got art all over.
That's
the place.
beautiful
Sweet,
right there.
yeah,
That's what
it's
I need to do with my building. It's just so ugly. That would make it look better.
Get a hold of him, man. He's a talented dude. Lately he's been designing some artwork for a local brewery out
There
of
you
West
go.
Virginia.
Right there.
I'm not sure the name of the brewer, but yeah, man, he's killer talented.
Yeah. It looks
Yeah.
like it.
But yeah, Head Change back in 15. I started putting the logo on discs through Trilogy. I was really into Trilogy plastic at that time, and got into like shirts and hats and stuff. And then one day I got a cease and desist email from a lawyer from a guy out in California,
Oh wow.
and he owned a website called headchange.com, and they sold apparel, shirts and hats. So I think it was really the apparel side that got me there. He basically
Yeah.
claimed confusion in the marketplace,
Right.
and I just shut her down. I didn't want to take. Looking back, when it comes to copyright and trademark, it depends on like what market you're in. Where you can have multiple,
Right. Right.
people that use those names. But I didn't want to fight at the time. I was getting ready to have my second child at the time,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, what, this is not a battle I want to fight. And around the same time, I did start a separate business called the Disc Golf Shack,
Okay.
where in
I
my
think I've heard that
well,
from
in my
somebody too,
in my
yeah.
backyard, I have a shack. The house we
Yeah.
bought this house right across the street from Veterans Park back in 2013,
Yeah.
and there was a little shack
Yeah.
out back. And around that time was the
That's
beginning of my course that I have, Malbright Pines.
Right.
And I started cooking up the idea. Okay, I could have a course here, and then I could have a quote unquote pro shop shack that has discs. So I gutted it out and put, pegboard up, and had inventory there that I sold people to come and play what little 9-hole course I had at the time, which wasn't very good at the time. And did that for a couple of years. But pretty much when the cease and desist came, the Disc Golf Shack is somebody else. Oh, look, somebody else has the name Disc Golf Shack now. See, I should have copyrighted it, because
Yeah.
now if I want to use it, now I can't. Which
Yeah.
I have no desire of using that again. But yeah,
That's funny.
that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to own discgolfshack.com, had a website you can go and buy stuff on. At the time, it was up for a couple of years. But yeah, and that was the beginning of my course that I
Right.
had there. We moved in there in 13, and started off with back when they did the Mountwood course, they sold off the old baskets to raise
Okay.
fund to help
Yeah.
pay for some materials and stuff, T-pads and stuff for the new courses. And I bought at that point in time old hole number 5 basket,
Nice.
and that happened to be the basket that I got my very first ace on.
Oh,
So
nice.
that was cool to
Yeah.
be able to now
Yeah.
on my course is the very first basket
Right.
I got my ace on.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
another cool story about that ace is that, growing up, when it come to sports and stuff, my number was always 9, the number 9, and 9's been my lucky number, and I got my first ace on 9/9/2009.
Oh,
Which
wow.
is kind of weird. Now, if I done hole number 9, that would have
Yeah, that would've been
completed the
crazy.
story there. But yeah, man, so I had that basket, and I bought 3 other baskets at the time, and I just had 4 baskets in the yard. You just kind of use multiple, and then
Yeah.
just kind of over the years. I mean, my course has evolved. I mean, it's in its 10th version
Yeah.
right now.
How many baskets are you at?
I have 18.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I have 18 baskets now. Sure do.
That's awesome.
She's real.
It is a real course.
Look,
Yeah.
it's on
Right
the
across-
disc golf scene.
Right across the street from Veterans. You can
Yeah.
literally play hole
Yeah.
number 10 at Vets and walk across the street and start on hole number 1
Oh,
at my
okay.
course. Now it's literally
Nice.
400 feet
Yeah,
from
that's
Ken's
awesome.
basket. Now, so like this T-pad doesn't exist anymore. None of these
Okay.
pictures that you see on UDisc, and this was
Yeah.
literally just last year.
Man,
Oh, wow.
Can you
None
just update your stuff already?
Well, it's crazy. I've not been able to figure out, even though I'm the moderator for the course on UDisc, how to remove these photos. There's not
It won't let me.
They
in.
won't let me
I
either.
have
not an option
Yes.
to
I've
remove them.
emailed
All
them
the
multiple
old
times
Sasquatch
because,
or upper-
Rottens is so
Yep.
far off, you
Yeah.
know. And I was like, well,
Now-
if you're not going to take the old ones off, put my new ones
Are you
up.
talking about
He
UDisc
hasn't
or
done that
disc
either.
golf scene?
U-Disc.
Okay.
Yeah.
U-Disc won't.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, like, I'm lucky that I haven't uploaded. I thought
Disc
about
Golf
uploading
Scene has
from
the
like
same
last
pictures.
week, but now it's
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I haven't, because basically what I'm gonna do is on the new photos, like this is the new version of this hole.
Right.
Disregard
Right.
Yeah.
the old ones. Yeah. That hole was the teeth pad is back on that hole, but I actually removed it as of 2 days ago. This section of the course, I was talking to Jim yesterday. I've tried to fit too many holes in one section. That hole is no longer there. So now, like again, most of these. This hole.
I don't think I've ever
cool.
This is
played.
hole number one now.
Okay.
This is
I don't
hole
think I've
number
ever
one.
played the course where it was the same.
No. No. And I hate that, and I
no, dude,
I
because
truly
it's
feel-
it's becoming what it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that how the property works and why in the past it's been so hard to play, in terms of getting people in, is that of the 11 acres that it's on, that's the first problem.
Yeah.
Fitting 18 baskets on 11 acres is tough.
I bet.
Probably
a whole lot of crisscrossing and all that.
Or you're not throwing right at people.
I've never done the crisscross thing because
Okay.
I think that's
Good.
poor
Yeah.
course design. But
Yeah.
as a result, there's a lot of tight. Where one
Yeah.
fairway will come up, the other will come back, and the solution is you can either accept the fact that people can get into the other fairway.
Yeah.
You could run an OB rope in between them to separate. If people do get over, then they're
Yeah.
coming and dropping into your own fairway, which I do
Right.
do
Yeah.
on a couple holes out there. But even that, I'm not a fan of that type of design.
Right.
That's poor design in my opinion, but at my course on a couple holes, it's a necessity. It
Right.
has to be done, or there's a good
Yeah.
chance that you'll be playing in other people's fairways. Now there's
Right.
a creek that divides the whole property in half, so that creek
Right.
serves as an OB line, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
that makes
majority of
easy.
it, it's on. I have three neighbors, plus my property that they over the years, as I've warmed up to them and got to know them, they're totally down.
Oh, awesome.
They're
So
totally
there's
cool with it.
Housing edition
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, and my property, the property goes against it. And we actually had a group come out and play a couple of days ago, and one of their discs ended up right on the property line of their backyard. And I, when I design a course, I always design it with the pro advanced player in mind. I keep thinking, okay, this is the shot I'm going to throw. But then when you
Right.
get people, of a rec level, you start
Yeah.
seeing shots go places you didn't think that were
Right.
possible.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
No.
That just shows you the
Makes it
potential
safer.
of
Right.
what could happen in your hole. And as a result of that group playing the other day, I realized, you know what? I need to redesign the course so that
Yeah.
never happens again.
Right. Right.
And that's where I'm at. I've eliminated. Well, I've moved that hole away from the property line to where that no longer becomes an issue.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
I still have 2 more holes to cut. I mean, they're virgin grounds, and I think
Wow.
if you get to make it to the tournament, you'll see. I mean,
I plan on being
any
there.
place that you see out there that's like clear,
Yeah.
at one point in time was just hawthorn bushes and briars. And I mean,
Thick.
I
Where
mean,
that
the
creek was
thick,
thick.
Oh man.
And in 7 years, I've all done that with, up till this past month, I've got a chainsaw finally. I've all done it with
Loppers.
loppers.
Show them your finger. Put that up there.
Oh,
Let me see.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lesson. Wear
Yeah,
gloves when you're operating a saw. Let's just put
Yes.
it that way. We won't go to the
Lesson
story.
learned.
Yeah, lesson
Don't show the
learned.
picture,
Absolutely.
please.
I think I've cleared probably close to 3 to 4 acres by
Wow.
my hand over the year. So just
Wow.
getting it ready.
Yeah.
So
We feel you, man.
yeah. Oh no, you were out there with your was it a sawzall you were using or something like that, cutting limbs in the Sasquatch?
Oh no, I had a
Reciprocating saw. that's what I
yeah,
meant.
it's
What was
a
it?
hedge
Sawzall.
clipper.
Yeah.
Gas powered hedge
he had,
clipper.
Yeah, he had that. I had a sawzall that I did a lot of the work with.
Oh, that weed eater's
It's
much
handy.
better, man.
Yeah, and now I got like this crazy blade on my weed eater, weed eater now. That it's like a chain. Looks like it's a round chainsaw basically. It's got like the bites on it
For
like
sure.
a chainsaw
Yeah.
blade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll do
it'll
work.
cut right through trees at probably about 5 inches. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so man, once I pretty much shut down the shack and had changed disc golf, I still was into it, but like 2016, I got burnt out. After playing, that in 16 actually, me and Travis and James went out to Vegas and played in the
I remember.
the Gentleman's Club Challenge.
Did you
that
throw
year.
your arm out or something?
I didn't
Hurt
throw it
yourself?
out, but when you don't play disc golf for 3 months, you know, because of winter.
Yeah.
And you go out to Vegas in January, and you got to throw a 400-foot every hole.
Yeah.
After about 2 rounds, my arm was a noodle.
Oh,
like
man.
I learned
Oh,
quick, you know. And I went out there with the expectation just to have fun, you know. I didn't think I would compete against those guys. I think that year, like, you know, Philo won it that year. Was playing against Nico was there, Germ.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Simon was all there. That was fun, you know, get to see them on the driving range and the long drive contest. And I didn't come in last. That was my main goal going there.
Yeah.
It's not to come in dead last. I think it come in like 64th out of like 80 some players. So I accomplished my goal. But that was fun. That was one of the funner disc golf experience. Another one was in 14. Corey Ellis had qualified to represent the state of West Virginia that year in the USDGC performance flight. I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah.
with
yeah.
you know how they did that
Yeah.
for a couple of years, kind of like a handicapping
Right.
system. And I went down there with Corey and hung out with him and filmed his first round that year in 2014. I've got some cool video of him that I've been sitting on for a couple of years of Corey in his
Yeah.
early days.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 14, I also went and played in the Ironwood Open at Moraine.
Okay.
Like that's the first and only time that I've played that course, and was
Yeah.
played in advance that year and won. That was a B
I don't think I
tier.
played that one.
It's the only
Yeah.
B tier tournament I've won. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite tournament wins I've ever had. That was a cool
Yeah.
experience. But yeah, 16, man, I got burnt out. My kid, my youngest boy's just turned 1. You know,
Yeah.
when you have 2 kids, I have 2 kids. You know,
Yeah,
and that just got to be too much. You know, used to be before the kids came along with my job. You know, I worked for Verizon up until recently. I worked for Verizon for 10 years. You know, you would schedule your vacations around disc golf tournaments. So I would go
Right.
play, you know, on the weekends, play sanctioned tournaments, you know, all over. If you pull up my, tournament history, you can see, you know, back in the day before the kids came around, played a lot. But once they came around, you had to schedule your vacations for family stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was no scheduling vacations for disc golf anymore.
Right.
But
Right.
so yeah, I think I played 1 tournament in 17, 1 tournament in 18. But even those tournaments, that was like 1 round of maybe like 5 or 6 rounds I played total those years. I mean, I
Wow.
didn't play at all.
Yeah.
The course grew over from 16, and then I think it was like fall of 19 I started working on the course again, you know, getting back into it, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
When COVID hit last year, Verizon basically closed my store down and
Wow.
paid me to stay home
Yeah.
for 4 months. So I'm like, you know what, this is time to get back into disc golf. That's when I started working on the course and cutting all that brush and stuff. And here recently I got laid off from Verizon, so now I'm able to cut even do any more. So, you know,
It's almost finished, man.
it is
18.
I've said that 7 times already.
Right. I hope to play it twice while it's the same layout.
I hope after this weekend, because my intention, not this weekend, next weekend with the tournament, I hope again that it's done, and I do want to have a sanctioned tournament there of some sorts.
Cool.
And I want to try to have it in May,
Nice.
and I want to do a weekly sanctioned league there.
Cool.
I used to run a sanctioned league at right there, Head Change Disc Golf League.
Yeah,
I
we
used to
need
run
more
that
leagues.
Vex back in 13. And
I
that
feel like
was,
we need at least 3
Well,
or 4
well,
a week.
I
you
think
know?
why we need them, and Lee's been doing that, is
Yeah.
because there are more players locally that now are PDGA members,
Yeah.
and they need the opportunities to, you know, see where they're at with ratings. Now,
Absolutely.
league ratings are a little sketchy sometimes because they're all dependent on your highest rated player that happens to
Right.
play in the league that week, you know.
Right.
And if that person doesn't do very good, you know, it
Yeah.
really skews things.
Right.
You know, or if you have
I've seen that a few
a
times.
low rated player that does really well,
That's
Yeah.
me.
yeah, you know.
Knocking your
So-
score down constantly.
But I've never really cared too much
Right.
about ratings.
Travis
Yeah.
always comes out and plays
Yeah.
with us. I appreciate that.
I've given up on my rating.
You know, the Paul Macbeth quote that's been going around here lately, I'm sure you've seen it, ratings never won me a tournament.
No,
Oh.
I don't.
No.
Yeah,
That was
really
funny
won't.
because the other day when Eagle, you know, just became the highest rated player in the world.
Yeah.
A couple
didn't
days,
know
he's
that.
number 1 player in the
Okay.
world. Ricky
Yeah, keep up.
on Instagram made a joke post about, well, you know, Eagle's the number 1 rated player in the world, and he just won the Las Vegas Challenge. He's like,
Yeah.
maybe ratings do win you tournaments, you know. Kind of a little subtle jab at Paul, I think, and all good fun.
That's funny. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my disc golf history, so to speak,
Yeah.
in a nutshell.
So that's kind of like that's the official stepping up of the younger generation is what that is. That's interesting. I'm not surprised that Eagles #1 for sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like
Yeah.
his skill set, you
It's
know.
crazy. He throws every single shot, and he throws it with skill, which is
I think
absolutely nuts.
one of Eagles' main advantages that really sets him apart from the other pro players
Yeah.
is that when you have the ability to throw a hyzer,
Yeah.
and not just the distance that he
500
throws the
feet.
hyzer,
Yeah.
it's all about the angle.
Right.
So he can throw literally straight up and straight down. So when that disc is hitting the ground, it's
Yeah.
not skipping.
Right.
It's pretty much staying where. And not only can he do that backhand,
Forehand, here it
he
comes.
can do it forehand.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Equidistance, and I
Right.
really think that's what sets him apart.
That makes
You know,
sense.
when you can throw a hyzer controlled either way
Yeah.
and know that where it's landing, it's not going much far from where it lands.
Right. Yeah.
And you've got that
do it
dialed in, like
500 feet.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
For
crazy.
sure. I mean, there's
I
plenty
mean,
of
there's
pros.
not many holes that you can't
Right.
conquer when you can do that 500 feet.
For sure.
Here's
Especially when you got there over
766.
trees.
That was a crazy shot there.
You got out of bounds. You know, I mean, it's all about that control. I mean, there's a lot of pros that can throw.
Oh, he hit it. I
Yeah.
can't believe
That can
that.
throw,
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
distance, but
Yeah.
being able to throw distance on that angle of attack is
Right.
really what sets him apart from the other pro players.
I agree.
And yeah, I think this is going to
The
be his
distance
year
god,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, not highest rated player in the world right now, and even I think Paul's 4th in the world right now.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Calvin's 3rd,
He's been kind of fighting
Ricky-
a few injuries.
Ricky's 3rd, Paul's 4th, and I think Dickerson's 5th now.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And Dickerson's
What about
crazy.
Heinrich?
I wish. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the story behind him, but
He seemed like he
he
was
doesn't play
on.
out west. You know, he doesn't play out west.
No.
He still got a real job and sticking
Yeah.
home.
I got a funny story about Chris Dickerson. I actually played on a card with him
Oh, wow.
back in, and I'm probably going to get the year wrong here, but it was a sanctioned tournament at the Mountwood Black Horse. It was when I first started throwing Trilogy Plastic, and I was on Team Trilogy. I thought I was
Awesome.
you know,
I love it.
Well, Team Trilogy was just
Let
like a
me
fan
on.
club.
Yeah.
You just like throw okay. I'm going to throw Trilogy
I
Plastic.
paid full price for all my
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm going to throw Trilogy Plastic. I'm going to do it in the bag, showing my Trilogy Plastic, and you're on Team Trilogy. And I never remember. We stepped up to the first tee, and I had my Team Trilogy gear on. And Chris, he wasn't sponsored at the time. He was throwing I think a mixed bag, and he goes, "Are you a sponsored player?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm not a sponsored player." He was like, "This is a fan club," and played that first round with him, and I mean, he tore it up. He ended up winning the tournament
Yeah.
quite handily.
Wow.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I played it. Got to play around with him in his early days and see the potential there. He was, and he was a really cool, down to earth dude. Really,
The robot chicken.
yeah, mhm, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's.
So that's what I'm talking about right there. That
Yeah.
angle,
That's
being able to
crazy.
throw it on a 45, 50 degree angle. Just see the disc didn't go anywhere.
300 feet in
Just
the air.
comes straight down.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you can do that consistently, I mean, you're gonna birdie a lot of holes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, he's throwing it like that is almost 200 feet up in the air and. Jeez.
That's so
Yeah,
pretty.
just parks it.
Got a great forehand. Except for that one.
He is human, right?
Yeah, until this. That's crazy.
That kid can throw. I'd like to see him play.
Yeah, I don't think he was at the Gentleman's Club Challenge the year that we went out there. I don't remember him being there. I had a great time. I'll never forget. James McDonald was out there playing hacky sack with Big Germ. they were getting into it, man.
That's too
I
funny.
was just laughing. Like Germ was taking it serious.
Yeah.
His hacky sack skills, man. He was all about it.
That's funny. Well, does anybody else need a beer? I'm gonna take a break real quick.
Sure, man.
You guys can keep talking if you want. Take a break. Or
So,
whatever.
Josh, some of my earliest memories of you are coming to my brother's birthday parties.
Oh my gosh,
Playing wiffle ball in the side
Me
yard.
and Jimmy go way back.
man.
Like your brother, I went to
Dirty Joe, man.
Dirty
He was
Joe.
the catcher.
I went to kindergarten. I started kindergarten with him, and he was my best friend when I was a kindergarten.
Yeah.
And I'll remember going over to your guys' house, and you picking on us.
Oh yeah,
You
man.
definitely used to
Yep.
pick on us as kids.
Yep. I can
And,
remember pantsing you at least
Oh,
once.
sure.
Sweatpants dangling.
Yeah, that's
Good times,
that's
man.
some
We
good
had
times.
a yeah,
Thanks, brother.
like
Yeah, that's-
Jonah,
Mm-hmm.
like coming back into Williamstown and getting to know all you guys again. Like
Yeah.
Jonah was really good friends with Ben Kiger and hung out with Brad and us there when they were really young. Mo, I didn't even know that she was Jonah's sister.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, so I got to talk to her at
Were
Fork
you
and
friends
Run.
with Marty Gwynn back in the
Oh
day?
yeah. Uh-huh.
See, Marty is who got Jonah into disc golf.
Oh really?
Yeah, Marty
No
Marty
way.
Gwynn. You know, I didn't know. I mean, I knew
Oh,
of
yeah.
Marty because he was like, went to high school.
Yeah. He's younger than me.
Marty was the first one from around the Williamstown area that got into disc golf, and he was really good.
Yeah.
Really good at it, especially with the sidearm. And he got Jonah into it, and then Jonah
Cool.
got me into it. So that's how we kind of got into the disc golf scene.
Yeah, so I have the Big Buckeye sign where the map that was on it before
Mhm.
with the green thing.
Yeah.
But if you flip it over on the other side, there's an old sign on the back of that one
Mhm.
where people put the stickers for every hole on there. There's probably 10,000 stickers on the back side of that
Oh, wow.
sign.
Huh.
And yeah, so every hole's dimensions and everything was put
Sure.
on there with individual stickers. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I had great times at that. I mean, that's where I learned how to play disc golf.
There was a video of you acing a hole 14, I think.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I curse on that one. I was pretty pumped. The reason I was pumped because I knew it was on video. I was funny. Like I was back. I think it was 2010. Either Lee or Josh Collins was using. I had a BlackBerry 8330
Nice.
smartphone. It was the first smartphone that I had, and I remember giving it to Lee or Josh Collins to film that round. And it's so funny. I stepped up to the tee, and I stopped mid toss because I thought he wasn't recording.
Oh.
And I on the video, I literally say, I was like, I better stop just in case I ace this.
Yeah.
Just joking around, and I throw the disc as a blind shot, and I put my hand up to my head, and you hear the chains, and then of course I start screaming. I'm dropping F bombs. I'm running up, and I'm like, I was pretty pumped, and of course that was $100 ace too. Back then he had the ace pots, that was one. I think I hit another one in league there too. I actually have another ace on video. It might be under Head Change Disc Golf, but this is another interesting disc golf story from the past. There is a festival called the Collar Dance, and it was put on at a piece of property that's up in the neck of the woods of Hippo Ridge in Jared's property. So it was, I don't know, like the town Logan maybe, but it was just a private property where they had this, jam band hippie festival back in, I want to think it was 15, and they reached out to me to build a disc golf course for the festival goers. So at that time I had 9 of those cloth portable baskets.
Yeah.
So I just went up there the week before and scoped out the property, and I built this 9-hole course up on the hill from the the festival grounds, and the disc golf shack. I had I had my disc there, and there's the shot right there. See, I stop. Oh, it's before that.
I'll go. Yep. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Yeah.
Recording? Are you recording?
Yeah.
I wish I had the audio.
And I knew it was good, so I put my listening for chains. Of course, then I didn't know it was in. I just assumed it was in.
Yeah.
And then they're like, go get your bag.
Get my bag.
Yeah. So you had that course. I set up a course up on the hill, and do you guys know Adam Klimas?
No.
AK?
AK?
Yeah.
Oh
AK,
yeah.
AK, he was at the festival there, and we went up and played a round up on the course, and I had my camera with me, and I got an ace on camera on that one too. That was
There it
cool.
is.
Yeah.
It's in the basket.
Champion Boss, the old Feldberg 2008.
Jonah loves them.
Yeah. Yeah, I lost that one on my course, man, a couple years ago.
Ooh.
I threw it on my course, and
Still out there somewhere.
I keep thinking one of these years I'm going to find it, and I've never found it.
It's in a crevice somewhere.
Someplace.
It's like Broomhilda, that destroyer I found up on the Sasquatch.
That's only one of 2 discs I've lost on my course. Normally, I find everything eventually, but that one never came back to me for whatever reason.
Big Buckeye. Sasquatch. Thank you for all your help on the Sasquatch. People, like a lot of people, don't know how many holes that you really helped me on.
Well, it's funny that you say that because James is not a fan of one of the holes I designed.
Oh.
Guess which hole that is?
18?
I was cussing it.
No,
I
16.
love that one.
Oh, 16.
15.
15, yeah.
15.
Z formation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I chose the distance, though.
That hole, as it plays right now, needs a lot of work when it comes to the fairway. Right now, the fairway is not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's fair
Yeah.
for the par.
It's fair for the par, but it's not
Right.
fair because
As soon as it gets cleared out,
Yeah, it'll be fair.
people will
For sure.
start foring it
For
all
sure.
the time,
Yeah.
and then
yeah,
the par
the
will be
vision
back.
that I originally had was to make that fairway wider.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just so hard to get
I
tools
think-
up on that course. And,
Yeah.
You know.
What?
Well, I got a truck now, 4-wheel drive. We can do whatever. And,
Hey, I got
that's why
chainsaw.
bought it.
Once I told Jimmy, once I get done with my course,
Yeah.
which I hope this weekend will be officially done, then I'll have some time to get over there and get some of them, those down logs off the fairway. Because that hole, I mean, there's a lot of logs where you would ideally land, and then from there you're throwing standstill up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to be able to get some sort of a run up to
Yeah.
get that distance to be able to get to the top. To have
Whatever flat spots there are impeded by a lot of those down trees for sure. I've been trying to keep pushing them so that there's like rails, to like catch you in certain places. It's gotten so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
Shout out
noticed
to
a lot
Corey
of
Ellis for
logs.
setting the course
Yeah.
record last week.
Yeah,
I'm glad you
yeah.
guys got to play with him.
Yeah, Corey, he went out there and shot the course record, and then they called me and said, "Hey, we're coming over to Betts. Want to join us?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah."
Heck,
I mean, I'd played
yeah.
around with Corey and Greg for years, and we went over there. And Corey, he was, if he was inside 45, at least that round, inside 45 feet, he didn't miss.
Wow.
I don't think he had really one bad upshot, or maybe like one bad tee shot. I think number one, he might have hit a tree early, but then recovered. But he went bogey free.
Wow.
Played pretty consistent, good golf.
Yeah.
And then of course on 17, I think he only had like 120 out. I mean, he blasted one down. I mean, just straight hyzer the whole way.
I can't.
Oh my goodness.
I would
no
love.
turn,
I
no
just.
straight
I
up.
want to see it. I want to see people throw like that.
I've seen him throw it like that a bunch.
It's
saw
because
him.
seeing it on YouTube just doesn't give it justice for the distance.
What? When's this? What's
I have a
this?
video that I never
Oh,
came
it's
out
Sasquatch.
with.
Okay.
That I haven't figured out how to get it onto YouTube, but I have a video of Corey at the last tournament at Forked Run. It was a 550-foot hole. I forget what that is. 22. Heading out towards the road.
Just right to the road.
Yeah, he parked it past the basket.
Oh, I heard that. I heard
Yeah.
about that. I
It
heard
was
about that.
crazy.
Travis told me.
I got it on film.
Travis
It was
told me the other day. He told me he literally was in the corner by the basket
Yeah.
on his drive. I'm
past the basket. I was
like,
just like,
what?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he skipped it off the road. It took at least
okay.
a
this-
70
I was
foot
trying to. I was
skip.
like,
It
wondering,
was
like, there's
huge.
no way he aired that out.
No, he
I
skipped
was
off the
trying to wrap
road.
my
and
head
you're-
around
You're
that.
thinking like, oh, it's out of
Yeah.
energy to skip to the basket.
That
It
makes
just took a monstrous.
That
skip.
makes more sense.
I was like,
I was trying to wrap my head. I was like,
How is that even possible?
How did he have an air shot to get back there?
Yeah.
Getting over those trees and getting back in the corner, but that makes more sense.
This was the
He throws to
elusive
the right of that one
Josh
tree.
played in snow round.
Yeah. I am good for one round in the snow each year.
You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go back to YouTube and search, I think it's Head Change Disc Golf. I did a snow round out at Veterans back in the day where I just played by myself. Now back then I was throwing only Prodigy plastic. When Prodigy first came out,
Yeah.
came on the scene. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna throw Prodigy because this is the new stuff. And so I went over there with all my new Prodigy discs and played around at Veterans in the snow. Scroll down, you might find it.
There's
Oh,
a
right
snow
there, yeah,
round.
right there.
Oh.
2014. And that was, I think the snow was like 6 inches deep. As you can see, the tee pad, virgin snow. I mean, I live right across the street. So I woke up that morning and was like, you know what? I've never filmed a snow round. I've never played a snow
I
round.
love it. Yeah.
Oh, that
It's
is
like,
cool.
and there's the Prodigy, and there's the dud of a shot to start off. Yeah, I played filmed all 18 holes. Never didn't lose a disc, but that was the first time I'd ever played in snow ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, I normally don't like to see the
Yeah.
basket.
Right.
So,
It's torture
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So I was playing speed golf.
And recording at the same,
at the same
time.
time.
Did you have a tripod or a...
Yeah. My setup when I've always recorded in the past is a tripod, and they make those little smartphone holders that have like the spring loading. You know, the nice thing for working for Verizon is that, you know, as an employee, Verizon would hook me up with always the best top line smartphone every year. So, you know, even back in 2014, you know, I had pretty decent smartphone camera equipment. You know, so.
Yeah.
And you're always techie too.
Yeah, I've kind of been in the whole tech recording. Well, that's based, you know, mostly out of my music side of things. You know, getting into recording, you know, our audio and video from our shows back in the day. You know, but yeah, this might even been 8 inches now. I mean,
That's deep.
It was pretty deep.
You're like halfway up your chin.
Dude, think of what you could do with your band with this thing, man. Throw 3 or 4 camera shots in on this and
that
play
is
live.
one of the things that we're kicking around because, you know, with COVID now, the big thing is the live streaming and stuff like that. And I've got a way to send the audio to my smartphone live, but I don't have a module or an interface to do the multi-camera angle stuff.
Right.
On the you know, the smartphones and the tablets side of things, a lot of that's geared towards Apple products.
Right.
I'm an Android guy. I've always been. I'm very anti-Apple. It's not my thing. But when it comes to streaming, Apple's where it's at, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know? My daughter has an iPad and an old iPhone 7 Plus. So I've got 2 Apple products that's compatible with that, but I can't bring myself to buy something and then invest in Apple stuff just to do that. So I'm still trying to figure. Obviously, you've got the setup. I mean, you've got it.
Yeah.
You know, running with
that's where it got expensive.
Yep.
The video switcher is really where it got expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, like the cheapest one I found. Well, the cheapest one I found was like $300, but it wouldn't go live. So to go live, it was like 8 or 9. I think.
I've been able to figure that out. Like I'm in another band called Natural Flavor, and we did some recordings. Yeah, we were supposed to play your event. There's some drama in Flavor. We had to cancel, and man, that was a bummer. You know, because that's always I always wanted to merge the two together, and that was the closest I come to being able to do that. You know,
we're gonna do it again, man. It's gonna happen, especially now that we got
have the Head Changers play. If you guys do it, have live music.
Especially we have 2 courses there now. I mean, look at the event that Lee did.
For sure,
it's gonna be. Disc golf's growing, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, those guys that came out and played the course yesterday, you know, they were, you know, rec players, beginner players, and looking at their PDGA numbers, they were like 150 or 100. I don't know what number I'm
like. Is that like 150 or 160?
It's crazy.
I was like, wow, how is it that high already?
That's
crazy.
It's blowing up, man.
You know, but at the same time, and this may ruffle people's feathers the wrong way, but this is just how I feel, and this is just me being disc golf selfish, so to speak. You know, the phrase has been for years, the cliche phrase, grow the sport.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to slow the sport. and the reason why is, like, as a result of the sport growing so much in COVID, you can't get discs anymore.
Yeah.
Or like stop at least it. I mean, I throw a lot of West Side plastic.
Oh my.
You know, and West Side, I mean, they don't make their discs anymore. They get them through Latitude. But they shut down last year.
Yeah.
You know, Latitude supplied Latitude and Dynamic Disc, but West Side
back of the line.
They got nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and as a result, like, these people are selling.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the market on eBay,
I have
Facebook
a disc.
Marketplace,
I have a disc.
$40 for stock plastic, and you're like, what is going on?
I have a disc. I have a disc for you. I bought it for $11. Had a gouge in it, double stamp, whatever. It's a long Bowman. It's a nice one. VIP.
Hey, I throw them now.
Well, I didn't know that you had one.
Yeah, I finally got.
Okay, well, we spoke about that, so I was going to give it to you, and it was $11 when I bought it. I could sell it for $35.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah. That disc has recently made it in my bag. I threw a couple times at the
South Side. Firebirdish.
Yeah, it's very overstable, very thin rim, very flat.
Yeah, lower speed, so
controllable.
I don't have to kill it.
I think it's a good complement to the Stag, which is my go-to fairway driver.
Yeah.
You know, so I got my Stag and the long Bowman. I think they complement each other pretty well. You know, and then I'm at the age. I mean, I think the long Bowman Stag, they're in that 8-9 speed. I really don't need to be throwing anything much higher than 8 or 9. I think.
Yep.
That's my disc 10. I do throw the King a lot. That's like my favorite go-to distance driver period, and they're a 14 speed,
Yeah.
and they got a pretty wide rim. But other than the King, most of my stuff is in that 8 to 9 speed.
Yeah.
For me, I don't.
Kill that stag. Why throw anything else, right?
Right. I mean, I can make that thing work in so many different lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never
Forehand's a
seen
little
another
touchy.
one.
That's why I put the long bow in it, because it's
Yeah.
more consistent. You
Yeah,
know,
more
forehand,
stable.
I struggle with angle of release sometimes. I tend to sometimes.
I love that
overcompensate
forehand
and
stag.
into the ground.
I throw that forehand stag just flat as it can be,
Yeah.
and it'll just go left, 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 left.
Lately I've been looking for some more understable stuff. Well, like that shot we talked about yesterday that you took that was just all touch. You know,
Oh, the Sonic.
down
yeah.
the hill. Yeah.
Mhm. Put a Sonic in my bag here recently, and I used to have one back in the day. I love that disc.
It was kind of
Shots
the
like
neatest
that.
shot on 18 on on the Sasquatch. I swear it looked like he just barely flicked it.
dropped
With his
it.
yeah, it almost
Just
looked like
dropped
he
it.
dropped it in the air and it just sailed right down towards the back. It was a great shot.
Yeah, like right
With
against the
no
pin.
effort whatsoever. But I realized, like I've been looking for, more touchy, shots and how to actually throw them, which I don't have discs necessarily that. I have one, I guess, and I hardly ever break it out of the bag. I should probably, break it out more. I tend to overpower it. I need to learn how to slow down that arm
I think it's
speed a little
always
bit.
good to have a slow, understable putter of,
Yeah.
of some sorts. It don't matter what,
Yeah.
Throw what works for you. Ooh, look at that. I forgot I buried that one. These people get caught up.
They missed it at home. I'm gonna have to rewind.
Yeah, get the birdie there. People get caught up on trying to stay with like the same brand or the same company.
Yeah.
And I fell into that trap for a while.
Right.
A part of my disc golf.
Which makes no sense if you're not
Yeah.
sponsored.
Throw what works for you.
Mhm.
But when it comes to like having, an arsenal, I think having a understable putter to be able to execute those touch shots is a
Right.
very good option, important option to have in your bag.
Yeah.
And understand angles.
Yeah.
Learn the angles. For me as a disc golfer, what really took me, I think, to the next level, made me a better player, was learning how to throw understable, slow speed discs,
Right.
not only backhand, but
Right.
forehand.
Yeah.
A lot of people, get caught up on bombing drives and putting. I personally think the most important shot when it comes to disc golf is the approach.
Up shot.
Yeah.
If you can put your approach inside the circle,
Yeah.
Where you're not
You're
gonna
gonna-
miss
you're
that
gonna
putt.
score better.
Yeah.
Right.
and,
right.
and part of having a good approach shot is being able to throw your approach shots backhand and forehand.
Right.
Understanding the slopes of the greens.
Yeah.
If you have a green,
That's key.
if you're 100 to 200 in, and that you're on a hillside,
Yeah.
and that green is sloping left,
Yeah.
and you've got an open shot, why would you want to throw a backhand that could
Right.
fall away with the green?
Yeah.
Throw a forehand because you're throwing into the hill. But if
See,
you don't
that's
practice
funny you say that
if you
because
don't practice that
I
shot,
often
you're not
do
going
the
to
opposite.
you're not going to do that. Yeah.
I tend to, I'm going to throw it wide, but let it follow that green because I find that if you throw at an angle onto something, if it doesn't just fall, it tends to stand up and roll.
Well,
a
that's
lot.
where the release comes in. If you're throwing
Yeah.
into that on a hyzer, yes.
Okay.
But if you're throwing some flex on it, so it goes with the slope of the hill.
Yeah. So you're saying do like an ante to it.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's all about
Okay.
angle control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And
Yeah.
most people, come up in the world of disc golf throwing, right hand, backhand.
Right.
That's I don't know the percentage.
Hyzer.
You know. But and that's how I started. That's how most people
Yeah.
started. But when I learned how to throw forehand,
Yeah.
that's when my game progressed.
Me
Once
too.
you
Me
have
too.
both shots,
Yeah.
but not having both shots, having the confidence
Right.
that you're going to execute the shot. That's the big thing, and that just comes with practice, which is something that I actually don't do a lot of. I don't like practicing.
Yeah.
I don't practice.
You never warm up.
I don't warm
Get
up.
out of the car and
I
you
never
throw.
warm up.
Yeah.
I barely ever putt.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the mindset to like leave your shots for the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Save 'em,
don't
right?
waste your arm.
I used all mine up yesterday. Let me tell
Leave
you.
your shots for the course.
That's
But
funny.
the biggest thing I think took my game was learning how to throw a forehand and the forehand approach. I have recently, a couple years ago, put the zone in my bag.
Yeah.
the soft zone in particular, because the reason why I love the X soft zone, which you can't find anymore, is that they tend to hit and stick.
Yeah.
You know, and those ones for forehand, I think I think it's easier to approach a hole on a forehand than a backhand because you can stand still it. There's no movement.
Yeah.
When you got that, for me anyways, when you have
So
that
much
X
more
step
accurate,
and you're
yeah.
pulling across your body, to me there's so many things that
More
can go
things,
wrong.
yeah, I
I mean,
agree.
you played with me yesterday. You saw how many times, like an approach, I'm forehand and I'm standing still and I'm either throwing it on an Anheuser or a Heiser, depending on, of course, the Sasquatch, the slope.
You can't take 2 steps and throw
No.
half of your shots there.
But
No.
Just the tee pads.
Getting there took years of practice on my course. You know, having my course started as a practice course.
Right.
You know, and I, you know,
I think that's most people's, isn't it?
Yeah.
At least
just
first.
practicing that shot over and over and over till you get confident to go on the course and execute it. But yeah, man, if you're a right-hand predominant backhand player, learn how to throw forehand approaches and learn how to throw a stable slow speed disc and an understable slow speed disc, and just learn all the different options that you can throw. And that just
Hit your
take
gaps.
your game.
Play smart.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not. I mean, I don't want people to think I'm like some great disc golfer. I'm not. You know.
Yeah.
But
We're pretty
I'm
good.
just talking from my experience.
You're
you
better
know.
than both of us, so
Yeah.
probably put together.
I don't know about that. I'm trying to think, when was this? This was I used to film a lot of rounds back in the day. Jimmy, you've gotten to the round filming thing
Yeah,
here
man.
lately.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a good case of carpal tunnel too. Editing all that video.
I've noticed the past couple rounds out there, you've put the camera away.
Yeah.
Well, I like
have
to-
we reached burnout level yet?
No, so
Okay.
I wanted to do enough of those that the course would get enough publicity to get somebody like
Yeah.
Corey to come and play.
Yeah.
So I figured he's watched Travis play there enough that he felt like he could come like on a non-sanctioned round time, so it wouldn't hurt him if he didn't do well. But yeah, 8 down, man.
That
I love
definitely-
it.
That definitely helps.
Crazy.
Yep,
sure.
I absolutely
Man,
love
I feel
it.
like it's possible. I feel like, I mean, I haven't.
I've
played this-
birdied most every
Every
hole.
hole.
Yeah. So I mean, it should be, but just being consistent enough not to hit trees.
Yeah, because I've bogeyed every hole, and probably birdied every hole, but
Yeah, and it didn't help that we were playing in the snow and you know.
Yeah, that was a fun round in the snow we did that day. Of course, you know, I was telling James yesterday, I felt so bad for you because your camera, you filmed that whole round,
All right.
and his camera died on the very last hole, so I had to pull out Mike.
And you got the ace.
And I got
Yeah.
Isaac's ace on
That's
camera. Man, that just wasn't fair.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's all lessons, man. You know how much film we have lost? Like today, we had to start over today.
Yeah.
So there's just mistakes to be made and lessons
Yeah,
to be
lessons
learned.
learned.
Just like disc golf, it humbles you,
Yeah.
just like this stuff does.
yeah, well, we did a podcast. I think it was probably the third podcast I ever did was with Jim. It never came out.
Oh, yeah.
I talked for 2
There was so
hours.
many problems.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I think like I forgot to turn off a camera. There was like microphones that weren't on. There was so many issues with that podcast.
It's
It was
fine.
Kind of hilarious.
That's a learning curve.
I'm glad it was
Yeah.
me.
Learning curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm loving the Tuesday league at 2
Cool.
o'clock, man.
Thanks,
I mean, now that
man.
I'm unemployed,
Right, yeah.
You know,
Well,
It's hard
I'm gonna
to-
do a second round on the lower course at 5 right after it.
oh, same day. There
Same
you
day.
go. Wow,
Yeah.
good deal.
Yeah.
I know Lee's doing his Winter Warrior League, and I think it should be finishing up soon, and I don't know what
I
day.
hope so.
He's-
Jackson's it's getting better. It's really getting trampled down, but it's difficult.
I just wonder, you know, I'm assuming he's going to start a sanctioned league back up, and I don't know where it's going to be.
I think it'll be rotating again.
Well, that's what he did last year, but
Yeah.
I need to get with him to see what day he wants to do it on, because I want to do mine on Fridays at my place,
Cool.
and I want to do a flex league. I want to give people
Oh, yeah.
any time to play during
Right.
Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, I think per the league sanctioning
Get
agreement,
3 people.
the round just has to be played that day,
Right.
and you have to have 3 people.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, we would still do a time in the evening where if everybody wants to show up at a certain time,
Or
but
if you didn't have a partner, you could show up at a certain
But
time.
if you
Yeah.
can figure out a group of 3, because
Yeah.
I mean, per sanctioning guidelines, you have to have 3 to make a card. If you want to come out during the day early and get your round in, which there might be some advantage in gamesmanship to that when it comes to weather and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but the main reason is just to make it more accessible for people to play.
All right.
Sometimes the evenings don't work for people. So yeah, I'm leaning towards Fridays. There's Josh taking a spill. But
He loves it. When
I don't want to. I want to let Lee pick his day first because I'm not trying to do it on a day that Lee
Right.
Lee does his.
I don't know that he ever
Tuesdays are
picks
mine.
Friday. Yeah, he doesn't ever pick Friday.
Yeah.
It's usually Wednesday or
And I don't know if
Thursday.
Friday's a good day or not. I mean, it could be another day, but that's what I'm leaning towards right now. Just
Yeah.
calling it Flex Fridays at
I'm
Mall.
usually looking
Mall
for
Bright
something to do on
Pines.
Friday. One thing I would love to see is a max play league. You ever played in a max play league? You can basically, the two of you show up, you play your match, at any time that you can both work it out during the week on the course that is picked for the week, and it's usually a rotating course.
So you just have just a week. You find
One week,
that.
yeah. You can
Yeah.
pick any day from Monday to Saturday, I believe, and then Sunday all the scores are
I
tallied.
love
or
match
whatever.
play. I did
Yeah.
a match play tournament at my course last year. It
Yeah.
was good.
That's
I'm
fun.
doing it again this year. I'm kicking around the format because how I did it last year was at that point in time I only had 12 holes. So if you play 3 rounds of 12, you play 36 holes, kind of like playing 18 twice.
Right.
And I divided the divisions into 8 pro players or 8 advanced players and 8 ranked players.
Nice.
So the first round, the 8 went down to 4. The second round, the 4 went down to 2, and then
Yeah.
the last 12 was,
Yeah.
your final. So we were able to do a match play tournament in one day,
Wow.
which was a cool
That's
concept
really
because
cool, yeah.
sometimes match plays like you have to do over, like you said,
Right.
over weeks and stuff like
Months,
that.
yeah,
Lee
sometimes.
did one last year when COVID first hit, which was really cool. That he did out at OVU, where he had 16 people in all in the same division, and it was over a couple weeks. So you had a window. He gave you like 4 or 5 days
Yeah.
to get your match in, and then did the next bracket. But I like with mine. I was like, man, how can I do it to where it'd be done in one day? And that was the format. Now this year, I'm thinking about expanding it to 16 if there's enough people that's willing to do it, and then break it down into 9-hole matches.
Gotcha.
So 9, 9, 9, and 9 for the final. So you still only play 36 holes,
Right.
so you can get it done in one day.
Yeah.
So we'll have to look at that. If we have only 8 and 8, I'll figure out which 12 holes I want to play and get it done that way. But if we have enough to come up with 16, we'll
Yeah.
break it down to 9. But that was really fun because we had a group of characters that came out for that.
Yeah.
And, with my tournaments at my course, I never play in them.
Right.
I like to be the host when people come out.
That's
Yeah, me
awesome.
too.
I don't
I'm
like
pretty
people to
much
think
that
like,
way.
oh, Josh is having people out to play his course, and he plays this course all the time, and he's good.
Right.
I don't even want that.
You're taking our money!
to come up. And it was funny, and I was talking to Travis the other day. Everybody thinks that I play my course all the time. I don't.
Yeah.
I've got a course. I've got
Work on it more
I've got
probably,
veterans
right?
across the street. I've got a course in my backyard, and I hardly ever play it.
Yeah.
Now I figure that will change this year once it's officially. I use quotes because you know how that's been in the past, but that'll be more. Yeah. But
That's why
yeah.
you come to the
I
Sasquatch
like
on
to
Tuesdays.
host. Back in the day when I did my tournaments at Timber Doodle, I did play in some of them, but that was a more neutral course.
I need an excuse not to play at the Sasquatch, so please start something, because I will come and play.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I want to do that, sanctioned league, because I want to give
Yeah,
people an
that'd be
opportunity. I mean, I, was
Some
able
of
to
my
get
best rounds have been in leagues.
Mhm.
I mean, like crazy.
my
high
rating
scores.
now that I have, because
Ratings.
I got current again last year. I went 3 years where I wasn't current with the PDGA, but
I tried to look you up. You weren't on there.
yeah, I'm on there. Yeah, it's 43.68.7. That's the DX shark that I broke during that round.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I slow-moed it for you.
It broke earlier in the round.
Oh,
That was
okay.
just me just joking around, putting out with it. You know what's crazy is I've played since 2003, and prior to this past year, I've only ever broken one disc, and that was at an ice bowl in Moundsville. I threw a thumber that hit on like a concrete drive.
There it is.
Yeah, and it split in two. But I have cracked 5 discs
Wow.
in the past year.
Huh.
I just cracked one the other
That
day
was
on my
so big.
course.
It's because your plastic's 15 years old now.
It was cold that day. Yeah, it's
It's
old
older,
plastic,
older than
yeah.
your kids.
I mean, I could not believe it. Like these are discs that are
It's
in my
amazing
bag
what
that have
sun
been there for
does to
years, and
plastic.
they're gone now.
Yeah.
so frustrating.
UV rays on plastic breaks it down.
Maybe because
Just
they're
by
in your
hitting
yard
the
more?
sun.
You're leaving them out in the
These
elements?
ones, some of them I have, be like Travis jokes like, what do you mean you're not practicing? He's like, I see 15 discs out laid out in your yard every time, and I'm known for that. I mean, you come play my course, you'll find just
Anytime in my yard, there's putters everywhere.
Everywhere, But,
That's why you're like walking up to this. I think this is mine.
I lost one of yours in your yard when I went out there and played one day. You're like, here, throw this one, and I just chucked it right here. Like, I'll find it later. Then
was that? That's funny you say this. Was that back in like 16?
Yeah.
I just found. I'm not did this crazy
Yeah.
mention. I literally just found it 3 days ago.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And it was in a. I remember the hole you played. I think wasn't it a glow round?
Yes.
Okay, this all coming back. It was a glow round. It was a
I
glow round.
cranked a forehand.
I totally remember this
Yep.
because I had it in my head where I thought that disc was, and it was a section of the course that I cleared off last fall. And I'm like, I know when I clear this section off, I'm going to find that disc that Jimmy lost back in 16 a couple years ago, and I never found it. Well, about 3 days ago, I was clearing on the other side of the fairway, completely different area, and it was under a brush pile. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, no way. And it like the lettering's all fade off, and sure enough, it was that disc.
That's
cool.
I found it. I found it the other day. Could not believe it.
Preserved perfectly.
And I think it was a disc that I gave you. I think it was a disc James gave you. Because we were playing a glow round. Or maybe it was. I couldn't tell what type of disc it was because it was so...
I thought it was your disc.
It might have been.
That you gave me.
I found it. It was a white disc. It was a glow disc.
Yeah,
I found
right.
it. Like, I literally found it 3 days. That's crazy. That you even remembered that, let alone to me. I found it a couple days ago. It's funny.
Well, that was my first or second experience at your course. So.
Yeah, that was your first glow round ever, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we went to Timberdoodle and played right after that. Oh my, what fun!
I think me and James, I think maybe Wiltsey played that night too. That was the night before the West Virginia State Championship. I used to let people camp at my house, but like, you're playing the states, come camp at my house, play the course, because just get up in the morning and walk right across the street and you're there,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I think that was 16. My years, I get confused. It all kind of
You're so old.
Right? Yeah, not as old as you. I'm the youngest one here
I
today.
wish I would have found
the
disc golf earlier.
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm glad you found disc golf, man.
Well, I had
Me
been
too.
coaching up until
First tournament he ever played in was one I ran out of.
Oh
That's
my
the old
gosh.
Trilogy Challenge.
At West Side, I got hooked.
He got that Elasto Sampo,
Yeah.
and he was
Yeah.
hooked.
I still have 12 of them.
But you don't throw them
I don't
anymore.
throw one. Nope. They just do weird stuff. And then I got the VIP plastic ones, and they don't fly the same.
Yeah. There's a huge collector's market for those.
Yeah, but
Elastos.
my throw has matured, I suppose. Remember, I could not throw a backhand. I couldn't throw a backhand 25 feet.
Right.
It was horrible.
I'm loving. I've been playing with Jacob a lot lately, and he's pretty new. I think he's only been playing for 2 years.
He's
but
amazing.
Not real consistently until like this year, and his backhand is getting so good that like he's turning stuff over. He gets so mad, and I'm like, I remember that year.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's getting better than me. He putts probably as good as I do. That's his strong point, is his putting, and he doesn't really like his form is kind of.
He keeps it up near his chin.
Yeah,
and
he does
just
like across the chest.
he pops it.
He like throws across his chest. It's crazy, and I'm like, oh my god! And he just drills them over and over.
You know what? I have.
He's
A
got
lot
one of
of
the best
people
throwers
get into
I've
like
seen.
the whole form thing.
Right.
And watch the
Whatever works for you.
You see how I throw from the hip. If you've
Yeah.
ever seen me throw, when I throw, I've got 2 hands on the disc. I'm chucking it right from my left hip, man. It's just my shot. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really extend. I just kind of pop it like that,
Yeah.
I mean, it works for me, and that's what I always tell people. Don't worry about form and stuff. Whatever feels comfortable and works for you, just roll with it.
Yeah.
And don't Travis there, I kind of bust his balls about his putting and stuff over the years because he's changed like his putting like stance and style and all that stuff.
Just keep
feels
talking. I'll be back.
Whatever feels comfortable, just stick with it.
Yeah.
And you'll do better.
You grab me one. Yeah, I think the thing about Travis that I see the most is like he talks himself into being a really bad golfer.
Don't get mad at us, Travis.
No, I love you. I mean, I love playing with you, love watching you throw, but and he's amazing until he gets into his head, which is almost every disc golfer's problem.
Yeah.
You know.
With me with putting, it gets in my head. Like I normally can tell if I'm going to have a bad round putting because Jimmy joked about the going and no practicing. Like when I first show up, I'll throw like maybe 5 to 10 putts.
Right.
And I pretty much know then, like, man, my putting's on today, or it's
right.
not on today.
Yeah.
Pretty much know when I'm going to have a good day putting and which day I don't from the first couple practice putts.
Yeah. I know for me, like I think it was about 3 years ago, maybe 4, I decided that, okay, I know I can putt, I know I can drive, I know I can upshot, I make all these shots. The biggest problem I have is the head game.
Mm-hmm.
And so that year, the biggest thing I focused on was basically like, not overthinking. Often I wrote on my hand, on the inside of my left hand, I would write, stay calm.
Right.
Just, not thinking about the next shot, just calm down. You know what I mean? Well, yesterday I noticed like there was a couple times because I haven't played in a while, I hurried 2 shots and took a horrible score on that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did it, I was like, yeah, you know better,
I actually like to hurry. I mean,
you're good at it. I'm bad, really bad.
The problem with me is if I don't hurry,
you overthink.
I overthink. I overthink, and that's that's been a problem of mine over the years. If I sit up and I overthink, then what I will think of is all the bad things that could happen, and then that tends to happen.
Right.
So I try not to put those negative thoughts in my head. I just try to go up there, clean head, just get the shot over with.
Yeah.
When it comes to putting, though, what really has helped me, and this happened, it was, I don't know what year it was, but I was playing, I've been playing for a while, I was playing at a tournament, I don't want to think it was in Morgantown, and I was playing with Tim Stoughton. He's a golfer that I don't think he plays anymore, but he's a pro golfer, really good golfer out of the Pittsburgh area. And at that time when I putted, I would have almost up until the time I would release my putt, both hands on my disc.
Yeah.
I'd pull my disc down to my hip, and when I would putt, I would have that left hand on my disc almost time when I release. And Tim goes, he's like, man, you got your hand on your disc almost to the time that you release it. And that got in my head, and I thought, well, what could I do to not do that? So then I started putting with another disc in my hand. So that's why when I putt, I got into a routine.
Yeah.
I got into a routine where I hold 2 discs. I got a disc in my left hand, so now when I bring my disc down when I putt, I don't touch it because I've got that disc in my hand, and then I've got a routine where I kind of like point at the basket. It's either 3 or 4 times. It's never less than 3. It's never more than 4.
Yeah.
But getting into a routine's really helped me, and I've kept that routine, and I have not changed that in close to 6 years now.
Wow.
And I really think that's taken my putting to the next level in terms of being consistent. Nothing changes. I have the same routine. I have the same stance. I'm holding that disc in my left hand. I'm holding the same 2 discs in my hand. That I've held forever, and that helps me personally. That doesn't work for everybody, but
yeah, I think with me, like, I don't know that, like, I've had a lot of concussions, so my memory is not great. So if I try to come up with like an actual routine, I have to remember that routine, and that becomes stressful and puts way too much stuff in my brain. So for me, I just know that like there's a few things I need to think about, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I better not think about. And so the key for me is just only think about these few things that I know could make or break this putt. Everything else doesn't matter.
1, 2, 3, go. That's my setup.
And that's kind of it for me. It's like I get set up. I make sure I'm balanced. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my routine. Is okay. I got
feet,
foot
nose, belly button.
I can lean and rock, and I'm not falling all over. Then there's kind of a point at the basket, so I know my stroke probably once or twice. And then after that, it's just putt. Take a deep breath. I'm ready and
putt to the pole. That's the one phrase I say in my head. And I feel like when I miss putts, I'm not putting to the pole, but like I would say putt to the pole.
I agree. That's what I do.
I don't focus on a chain link. I
No.
try to putt to the center pole and try to make sure when it hits the pole, it's flat.
Yeah.
That's big for me. The routine that I do kind of takes me back to like my basketball playing days back in the day, when I'd go to the foul line. I had I can't remember what I did, but I had some I'm sure some routine where I flipped the ball around or something, like I rocked back and forth a couple times.
Yeah.
I did the same thing on my foul shots.
Batting in baseball.
I do have a routine in basketball. For free throws, it's 3 dribbles every time.
Yeah, a lot of people do from the foul line.
And shot. Yeah, that's I don't know, but I've shot a million more free throws than I have putts. That's probably part of it too. I realize that's something. I wish that my putt was as comfortable as a free throw for me. I can literally close my eyes and hit multiple, free throws, because it's a feeling. It has nothing to do. But the difference between it is it's the same distance every single time you shoot a free throw.
Right.
I've always felt that way putting.
Yeah.
It's just so natural. I don't know if it's from baseball or throwing darts or whatever, but
you have an interesting putt, Jim. I will say that you kind of do like the come across, kind of like the turnover putt a little bit.
Yeah.
It's moving left to right,
trying to force it to go kind of left to right.
But again, what works for you is all that matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it looks like, as long as it goes in.
I played that first tournament, that Trilogy Challenge tournament. We've talked about this before, but I played with Dale Winters. Was on my card. That's how we met. Awesome. But he commented during the round. He was like, "You're not new." He's like, "You don't putt like a new guy."
That's funny.
Yeah, man. Last round I played with Dale was at the Sasquatch. That time that I met you there, I think it was last year.
Right.
And
did he quit that round or did he make it?
I think he made it.
That was the time we took the picture.
Yeah, he made it that round.
Yeah, man.
He did.
Awesome.
He got her done, that's for sure.
I've been throwing the Essence, Discmania Essence, that his son gave me out of his bag.
Yeah.
And it is a great disc. 8.6
I'm not familiar with any of their plastic.
Discmania. Me either, man, but I'd throw the crap out of that disc.
But for my tournament, that's your player's pack.
Discmania?
Discmania disc, their active line, I do believe. You get that with your entry.
Nice.
So, I mean, I think they retail for $9.
What type of plastic is that? DX-ish?
I think I'm assuming it's DX-ish. So $20 entry, you get a $9 disc, as part of your entry. So,
what's the field? How many are you taking?
Well, I don't feel it will fill up, and I actually,
you'd be surprised, man.
I kind of messed up.
We're gonna blow
what
you
I
up.
did was I set it up as a flex. I wanted to give people. It's unsanctioned, so I'm.
Get with your buddies. Come play a new course.
2 card minimum, so you don't have to have 3. Right. As long as you have 2, come on out. I am requiring, because of COVID and everything, to pre-register. Yeah. And I think that's maybe throwing some people off. Why do I have to pre-register for a flex event? Because normally the flex event, you don't have to pre-register. You just show up.
But you want to know who's showing up to your house.
That Julian put out was that, yes, you have to pre-register, but you can call me.
Yeah.
So if you offer that to people, I think that.
And I put out there, comment on the registration if you don't have a card mate, and I've actually had a guy, he hit me up, and I've already arranged a group for him to play with.
Nice.
But I'm limiting the AM side to 32. We have enough players packs for about 37 people, so I'm doing 32. We have extras. I don't think we're going to get there. And the pro side 20. So I'm hoping, if we do fill, we'd be looking at about 52 people.
Nice.
I have limited parking at my house, so that is an issue. I have enough to park everybody, and it has to be strategic, and that's why I need to be available to tell people if I really have that many people show up. But I think where I messed up, I should have done tee times, but once you start the registration and it's up and running on Disc Golf Scene, you can't edit the name, and the name is Day at the Pines Flex Start. It's in the name. So I was like, okay, I'm committed to this, but I'm allowing people, if you want to set a tee time, you can, and a couple people have gotten with me and they've got tee time set. Yeah. But, show up anywhere between 9 and 4 as long as you have one person on your card. You can mix divisions. You don't have to play in the same division. Nice. And I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for people to play.
So same tees, not different tees for different...
Yeah, no, the course only has one. In the past there's been a short tee and a long tee. Yeah. They're called the green tees. I wonder why we call it the green tees. It's the green asphalt, that...
turf. There's turf out there, I hear.
It's on every hole.
Oh, my.
Every hole.
This has to be a fancy place.
Yeah. That stuff's money. Like, I'll never forget the first time I played on turf was at Richmond Hill in Asheville. I don't know if you've ever played that course, but that is, of all the courses I've played, it is by far my favorite course. It's in a pine grove. on
wow.
Richmond Hill. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like one of the oldest courses in Asheville, if not the oldest course, and it's like, I mean, boxed in AstroTurf tee path. It is a beautiful track, and so yeah, when I saw this, you know, I used to work at Verizon, and every day, I mean, starting back in 2015, I saw those rolls of turf just sitting over there by the ball fields, by the movie theater, and then it was 16, they're still there, 17, they're
How
still
many souls
18,
have
they're
been
still
blessed?
there. So then in 19, I was like, man, I got it.
It's itching.
I was like, I let Adam Sams know first. It's like, Adam was like, do you know anybody over there? And he's like, no. And then I let Jimmy know, and Jimmy was, right on. Literally like a week later, he's showing up at my house, unloading. I'm like, you are the man. It's like, I need
Cut and
somebody.
roll, man.
You know, I didn't have the initiative to take the, you know, to find who to get a hold of, but like he went with it and ran with it. And now like
That's awesome.
it's everywhere now. It's on my
It is.
course. It's on
It's
his
lovely.
course.
It's
It's
on
on
mine.
Eric's
It's on the lower
course.
course.
It's on that. It's everywhere, man. I mean, I knew there was enough to go around, and I knew it was good stuff because I played on them in Asheville. And I was like, man, if we could just get those, that'd be
It was
amazing.
perfect. 4 foot wide, perfect
Oh,
rolls.
they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
There's
awesome.
3 more rolls over
On
there.
my course, I used to have recycled rubber tee mats that I bought back when I first put my course in, and they were 4x6.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they did really well. They didn't hold mold or moisture. They weren't
Is
slippery.
that it right there?
That's one right there, man. That was the first one I bought, and that's been on my course probably since 14, and it's still good. It's not slippery, but so now some holes it will be in the back and it will overlap the front of the AstroTurf, so you'll transition from just to make it longer, to
Right,
give you a longer
right.
run up. So I have those, combined with some of the AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, that-
imagine
that hole's not
just
there.
imagine a beautiful
That's
piece
kinda
of
ridiculous.
turf.
Yeah, well that hole's not there. None of these holes are there
Yeah.
anymore. Man, maybe I'm hoping too.
That hole's not there anymore.
Nah, yeah, that hole is that
Hey!
is number one. That
Yay.
is number one now. That one is still there. And where that board is, there's an
Pretty cool.
AstroTurf tee pad there.
Yay, I
Like,
saw
Is
it.
that the basket right there?
I'm
The
parked.
basket is actually up to the right on the hillside, and
It's
it's
a
in the stump.
Mando.
Oh.
There's no Mando anymore. It's
Oh.
changed. It's now across
Oh.
the creek. It's up the hill. It's 300
Oh,
feet.
wow.
Oh.
And there's a stump that it's in, and it's literally probably 15 feet in the air from
I
the bottom of the creek.
love
Oh,
it.
wow.
It's a it's the only elevated basket on the course, but it's tough to hole out on.
That's cool.
That's for sure.
For short people.
Yeah. Yeah. That one's not there anymore. That one's gone. That's
There's
the double,
like 2 right
that's
there,
the double
isn't there?
Mando hole.
All right.
You come through those trees down there. That's as of the other
This
day. That
this split or this split?
the left
This-
side. You know, your right of the left V there. As long as if you go through the V, you're good.
Yeah.
And that tee pad that you see now has actually come back another 40 feet. It's farther
Right.
back.
Wow.
So you got to shoot through this gap from distance to make it
I
through here.
think to the pin it's like 250. It's not that far. It
Yeah.
was hole number 18
I
as of last week,
I
and
think
now it's hole number 16.
I hit chains on this one
You
day.
did.
Yeah.
You did. You were the closest, the ace the hole
Uh-huh.
so far. That one's no longer there.
That's a shame. That's right
Yeah.
by the shed.
Well,
I like your little shed.
The tee pad's
Yeah.
on the other side of the shed. You're going to that same.
All right.
You're going to that same pin.
But
now
there was a basket in those pine trees up there. Is that
it's
still there?
there.
Okay.
It's still there. Yep. It's still that group of trees up there. It's in the center of them.
It's a beautiful piece of property. I've been running in these woods. My parents moved to Mullinex
I didn't
when
realize you had that much property.
I was a teenager.
Again,
so-
I don't. I only have an acre and a half.
But there's so
Oh, my
many
neighbors.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So majority of the course is wooded,
Yeah.
but the holes around the house are open. So you've got basically almost even about a 60%
yeah.
wooded, 40% open.
Okay.
So it's a nice combination. There's some
Yeah.
there's elevation shots. You go
There's
downhill.
basket laying in the ground I saw. I wish I had that picture on here. I would like to show them that, but
So yeah, I'm excited, man. I need to get the course done. I'm hoping to have it done by Saturday.
so you need me to come out with my weed eater.
If you want to come out, man, I'll show you.
Friday after work, I think
Show
I
you.
might
I'd love to play around. I mean, I want people to come out and play it.
that
But,
too.
I cut in a new fairway for a hole today. I was kind of burnt out this morning. Literally since the snow has melted, and I don't know what day that.
Mhm.
It's been,
Yeah.
There's not been a day that I have not worked.
Show me your finger.
Oh, shut up. There's not been a day that I haven't put at least 4 or 5 hours in there. And then this morning, I put I think it did about an hour, and I was done. I'm Like,
Yeah.
you know what? I moved on to gardening and stuff. I have a lot of garden beds that need attended to.
Chickens. How's the chickens?
Chicken. That's another thing. I have chickens on the
Okay.
course. I have a chicken
Nice.
coop, so the chickens.
They're very distracting.
Yeah.
They will
I love
sometimes be by the basket you're throwing to, and I even joked with a group the other day because they would come up and said hello when we were playing, and sometimes they're on the way. And the deal is, if you hit a chicken, you get a free chicken dinner. You don't want to let
You gotta pluck it.
You get to take it home. And it's not staying with me; it's yours.
Right.
But they're super
That's
nice.
hilarious.
They roam around the property quite frequently. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the big one I'm looking forward to is the sanction deal, because I think the one that the sanction tournament that I hope to put on, like I said, I'm looking at May, maybe June. I have a feeling that I do have a potential for it to possibly fill up. You know how sanction tournaments are nowadays. you know?
Absolutely. We got 50
Yeah.
people to come out in the snow at 20 degrees.
And that's I am always going to limit mine to about 50. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I can go more, especially with the new redesign of it's getting people spread out more. You know, that's part of that good course design I was alluding to earlier, which I'm always striving for. You know, I don't like a lot of holes being up on each other, but when you're working with 11 acres, there ain't much you can do.
No.
But you know, when it comes to parking too, what's nice is when the Veterans course opens, you literally can park at Veterans Park.
Yeah.
You can play a couple holes down the hill and walk across the street, and you're right there at number 1 at my course. So,
Right.
you know, people can park up there if they have to.
I liked your scramble. Didn't you play where both courses connected
Yeah,
there?
yeah, we did that. So after the match play event, we did a skins round last year. So last year my course was 12 holes.
Yeah.
So we combined it with the 18 at Vets and did a $30 buy-in skins, $1 hole.
Wow.
We did last
Yeah.
year, and so we played the you know, you can literally just jump right back and forth between the courses. We did
That's
that,
cool.
that was fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good time. I forgot about that skins match. So we kind of had two events out there last year. So, but this is the first official singles format event that we're doing. But yeah, I think right now we've got registered maybe like 10, 11 people, and I've got a lot of people saying that they're going to be coming. So
I'll be there.
I
we,
need to
we
sign
might get
I'll sign
20.
up tonight.
I was going to put you on there. You
Right.
pay day of. Yeah, I'm giving people the option, if you want to pay day of and not use the disc golf scene,
Yeah.
you know,
Holiday
because
or whatever,
they
yeah.
snake a couple bucks in their processing. I
Yeah.
mean, I think you pay like 22
Right.
instead of 20. But yeah, if anybody wants to register, just hit me up. I've set it up to where my contact information can be found on Disc Golf Scene and UDisc. People can get a hold of me through
Sweet.
the Facebook page. You know, message it through Facebook or comment on Disc Golf Scene, or I
And
don't
is
know
that
if,
Mole Bright Pines Facebook page?
Yep.
Okay.
you know, hit me up at mallbrightpines@gmail.com
Okay.
or hit me up through the Facebook page if you want to ever come out and play.
Sweet.
I'm, you know, with me being unemployed, at least my plan is to be unemployed through the summer. So at least
Yeah.
next couple months, the course is available.
Yay.
In the past, I will readily admit I was not accessible. Like I put it out there for people to play, but it was very difficult. There was only certain times a day that you could play, or certain days that you could play on, and even those days with me, I was very suspect with my availability.
Right.
You know,
right.
people would hit me up and I wouldn't respond back because I knew I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was bad about that, and I will
Sure.
definitely take ownership on that one. You know, people did reach out to me in the past, and I didn't follow through on
Yeah.
claiming I'd be available, but I am totally available now. Everybody that's hit me up this past week has come out and
Nice.
played, and I want
need
more
to.
people to
I should
play
get
it.
a
I want
practice.
people to come.
Yeah, I should
Yeah,
get a practice
man.
round
I
this week.
Jimmy, I think you're going to be blown away.
I
mean,
hope so.
I think a lot of people.
The last time I played, I really enjoyed it, but you were just transitioning again.
Yeah.
I think you were in between a couple holes, but
Yeah, I went from 12 to 18.
I'm starting
last
to
fall.
know the layout. You know, I've been lost in those woods a couple times now, so I think I'm getting to figure it out.
But the UDisc map is updated, so if you have UDisc, you know,
Yeah.
you'll find your way. And how I like to do it is the first time you play the course, I like to show you around,
Right.
you know, and then after that, as long as you're cool, I mean, I like to
Yeah.
get a judge of character. I like to vet people on Facebook too. That's just me. Like, and today nowadays,
Yes, absolutely.
you
You
know,
can be a super sleuth.
I prefer people to, you know, have Facebook. That way I can stalk you a little bit, you know, because you can figure out a lot about a person by social media anymore, you know, and But I'm.
What are they willing to take
Yeah,
pictures of?
Are your friends my friends? That's
Yeah.
the main thing that I look for.
I mean, I try not to
Not my
be
sketchy
judgmental.
ones.
Don't by any means. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not trying to judge people, but you know, you can sometimes out there you can tell a lot about a person about But I want to give everybody a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not ever going to tell anybody that they can't play. You
Yeah,
know, but
yeah.
and that's been another thing over the years. That's always been a battle that I fought with people coming out to play because somebody gets hurt,
Yeah. Yeah.
lawsuits.
Yep.
You're not on my property. You're on my neighbor's property, so you wouldn't be
Yeah.
suing me. You'd be suing them. And my neighbors, they are 100% cool. Like they know especially this year. Like
Yeah.
past couple months, I've been like, this year I'm really putting it out there for people to come play. I'm having a couple tournaments, and they're like, have at it.
That's cool.
But I have kicked around the ideal of the quote unquote timber doodle model to have a waiver.
Yeah.
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 Right now, everybody's come out this past week. I said, there's only 2 rules at my course. 1, have fun. 2, don't sue me.
Right.
And everybody laughs.
Right.
But it's like it's not a joke. Seriously,
No, yeah.
because there are places
Sure.
where you got to cross a creek. There could be a hole that you could step in. You could roll an ankle or something like that.
Yeah.
And the people that have come out and played recently, like you can get a good vibe off somebody. You can tell if they're good people or not.
Yeah.
And everybody's
Yeah.
came out. They've been great people. Like I'm
It's
not
your
even
home. You gotta
the slightest bit worried.
vet
But
people.
I
That's fine.
can't guarantee that I may not go to that model, in the
Right.
future, may go to that if a ton of people start playing it because it is conveniently located from vets. So I might
Yeah.
this year I might get a lot of people like, hey, we're coming out of town to play vets. We see that there's a disc golf course
Yeah,
right across
right
the street.
there.
Can we play there? So I might be getting not necessarily the locals, but people from
Right.
out of town. So I may go to that, but I don't want it to go to that, but it may.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to protect all parties involved.
Right. Right.
That would suck to have somebody get hurt and then have something happen. Then
Yeah.
the course is done.
That's a
then
concept
it's no
that
longer
I've never
an option to
understood.
play.
Like, you're out doing something, you
There's-
hurt yourself.
There's a chance.
Yeah, there is, and that's a really sad
There's
thing. but-
litigious people out there.
Yeah, I've said it on a previous previous podcast that I've never rolled my ankle and thought I really need to figure out who owns this so I can sue them.
Sure.
Can't believe
Yeah.
they let
Because-
me walk out here.
Yeah,
Right.
I stepped on this rock. How in the world did this rock get here? I'm in nature.
But yeah, man, hopefully with this podcast, with the tournament, maybe get some more eyes on it, get some people. Yeah. I'm breaking the fourth wall. Please come play my course. Come play it.
Please
I've
do.
put a ton of work into it. I want people to play it. The more the merrier.
We'll have a good time for sure.
Yep. I'll definitely be there.
Me too.
Well, unless it freezes. Well,
For
actually,
sure.
now I have a 4-wheel drive.
The
truck, so
the
I'm
weather
sorry.
is, so Adam Sam's like texted me yesterday. He's like, hey, like my boss said he heard some people said that they're possibly predicting a
Snow.
freak blizzard on the
Yeah.
19th, and I'm like,
What?
what? So I get out AccuWeather, I'm pulling up the forecast, and that was 2 days ago. It was like around 45 degrees the high
Yeah.
with some possible precipitation. But then today it's now it's up in the 50s. So
Nice.
But it's possible. I actually ran a sanctioned tournament at Mountwood. The only one that I'm actually aware of. This is back, in 13, I do believe. This is after I started running tournaments. It was called the Mountwood Open, and it was in March that year, and it snowed at the tournament.
Jeez.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible. It can snow in March.
Oh, I know.
Those big
It
snows we
snowed
had
on my
back in the
birthday.
90s
Yeah,
were
yeah.
in March. Those blizzards were
Yeah.
back in March as
That
nor'easters.
28-inch one that one time was in
So,
March.
fingers crossed.
When I
Fingers
was a
crossed.
kid, I grew up kind of in West Virginia. Part of my childhood, anyway. My birthday's Friday, by the way.
Alderson Broaddus area.
What
Yeah.
what day is it?
That's in like Philippi, between like Philippi and Elkins.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
I meant what day was your birthday?
Oh, a Friday is my birthday, March 12th.
Gotcha. Right on.
Happy
So-
birthday.
I can't tell you how many times it snowed on my birthday.
For sure.
Like at least 3 times. My 16th birthday was going to be this big one we were going to do. It was sunny, I think it was a Friday. Yeah. Saturday we were going to have the party. I went to bed, wake up, and like I said, I had gotten all, the party ready. Like we had like a volleyball court, so I set up the net and just had everything all set up. Wake up the next morning and I can't even see out my windows, and I was like, because I had like a roof like right where under my windows, and I look out the windows. I was like, my brothers are messing with me. They went and sprayed, like fake snow,
fake snow on the windowsill.
So I go to try to roll the window open. I'm like, Oh, wait, this is real. Like, how in the world? I was so mad.
For sure. I remember going to a music
It was
festival
like 3 feet that time.
back in the mountains of West Virginia back in the day. It was the All Good Music Festival when it was before it made its way to Marvin's Mountaintop. It was over in right up in there where Sunshine Daydream was. And it was May 15th and it snowed at a music festival in May.
Goodness.
It's back in 99, 2000. So yeah, it's possible. I mean, even last year, it was below freezing on June 1st.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so I hope we don't have that this year, man. Like, it was crazy.
It seems like spring's here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
It
hear
seems
you.
like spring's coming on hard.
It's here for sure.
I did not throw today, but it looked really nice outside.
It was gorgeous out. Yeah.
Got the old Cooper's Rock course on the map there. I got to experience that here last fall. That was pretty cool. It was part of James McDonald's, invitational. He played a couple rounds. Well, did we play one round there? I think we played one round. And then we played a private course.
That was his modified Timberdoodle.
Yeah, he's had that at the Timberdoodle twice, and then had it out there. But that Cooper's Rock course is going to be a beast.
Not Dorsey's Knob.
No, it's up out 68. It's over near Bruce and right there. That one right there.
Cooper's Rock. Boyce
Yeah.
talks about it.
Cooper's Rock State Forest, man, it is going to be awesome. It's a Jay Gary design course.
There she is.
Oh, they have 9 in right now, and it's going to expand to 18. And some of the 9 they have like temporary baskets, and they don't have the baskets and everything. And it's a project of the Morgantown Mountain Goats. Shout out to the Mountain Goats.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about them.
I don't really.
In my opinion, they are the model when it comes to how a disc golf club should be ran.
Okay.
I mean, they are completely legit. There's no drama.
Yeah.
Like they.
Do they have
they-
a non-profit connected?
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
they have ran that club
Yeah.
like a well-oiled machine since what's the course there?
Seth Burton.
No, Dorsey's Knob. Ever since that
right.
course went in,
Yeah.
a couple years after that, they organized and they
Why
have
are
like
none
their
of
bylaws
Why
and
are
all
none
that
of the
stuff.
other clubs like that around here?
It's
Why
tough.
isn't that
It's
rubbed
tough,
off?
man. It's
Yeah.
tough, and and it's tough. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drama. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been a part of it. You've
Yeah.
been. We've all seen
Absolutely.
it. And it happens.
Yeah.
But I think like a lot of us, like me, you, and Travis, and Scott,
It's
and
all about
Jim,
strong
and
personalities.
We're all over 40 years old. Like,
Right.
we should be able to get past all that.
Well,
crap.
I think a lot of people are. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously,
I think I
I
decided I was like,
in the
screw
younger-
differences.
in your younger days, it's easier to get upset,
It
worked
is.
up over
Yeah,
stuff.
but we're
and
all past that. I
I'm
think.
over that, man. Like,
I
I don't
think
want to
we-
be a
I
part
think
of any
here's what I've
drama
been
and
trying to
disc
talk-
golf anymore.
Scott.
Like, I'm well past that.
Yeah.
I just want to have fun and play disc golf.
I've been trying to talk to Scott
Yeah.
because we're not
Yeah.
all going to be able to do all the work that we do forever. Scott's starting to break down. I mean, he's injured every other month. You know what I mean, or a couple times a year. And we're not going to be able to keep doing everything that we do, and we need to figure out who are what's the next generation? Who are they?
Well,
And the way to do that, I think, is start a club with these strong, over 40 men that understand that differences are okay, and we can get around that.
I don't
And
know.
then you kind of pass that on to
I
that
don't know,
younger.
man. I don't know if it can be done around here.
I think it can.
Yeah, and I don't know if it necessarily needs to be done because there are so many people, you, me, that included, that have played disc golf so long and know everybody
Yeah.
that when it comes to like.
Okay, well, let me ask you this:
Mhm.
when the next generation comes and
Uh-huh.
they decide to start the club, what kind of club is that?
I
You
don't
know
know.
what I mean? It's not anchored in, kindness and and forgiving and all that like we understand. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's the biggest reason why I'm like, we need to start it so that the next generation understands how to run it after we're done.
Mhm.
And we need to pass it down to them. You know what I mean? And we have people like John, young, in Brittany, and
Sure.
we can foster them along in the right, scenario, or we just let them do whatever happens. Which, I mean, I see there's like Jim was explaining to me like that some group of guys that comes out to Broughton's and plays the league or whatever. There's so many little groups like that of people we've never seen in any of our.
There's always going to be cliques in disc golf, and it's tough to get.
Listen, there's
everybody on the same page. Everybody.
It's not a shortage of anything. There's abundance of everything, but there's no communication between the things.
Right.
There's a young kid that just fell in love with disc golf that's been playing out at the Broughtons, and he started his own disc golf club called the Middle High Valley Disc Golf Club.
Oh, really?
Started his own Facebook page.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, and then he put like all these feelers out to like the Central Ohio Disc Golf Club and all these. Like, I'm starting my own disc golf here in Marietta. Right, I'm the 6th member of his society of the Middle Ohio Valley Disc Golf Club. And then I just kindly invited him to the Middle Ohio Valley Disc Golf Club, whatever. But there's no online presence for Scott's, Middle Ohio Valley Disc Golf group. So this kid just took over, but that's fine. But those people are out there, and they're gonna get hold of the message to not throw their beer cans everywhere.
I think a good message and a way to do it. It's kind of what you guys, the idea and the concept of the collective. Nothing's official.
That's right.
Nothing's official.
If you pick up a stick,
we have played disc
you
golf
are a
long
member.
enough to know what is a good design course. Like, what is good course design?
Right.
Used to be clubs in the past had a goal to get courses built. Now there's courses everywhere. And I think you reach a point, depending on the property, to where you can overstretch yourself trying to maintain so many courses in your area.
Yeah.
So I don't think a goal of any club that would form would be to design more courses. I think at least in the Middle Ohio Valley we've got enough.
See, here's what I see.
We have enough courses.
We
Stop
update
building them.
what is in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But do you need a club to do that?
Maps.
No.
We have social media. We have cell phones. We have.
You kind of do though. You kind of need the one guy pushing the other guy. You know what I mean? And say, hey, you get those maps done yet, or do you get the signs done?
Yeah.
That's kind of the reason for the club, because for me, I've always been a team player. Like, I played basketball. Almost every sport I played was a team sport. When I ran track, I did, the relay, because I love, team sports. And that's the kind of person when I've done construction, I love doing construction with a helper as opposed to by myself, because just that little bit of company is so much more motivating. You know what I mean? And I don't know that a lot of people around here that way.
I mean, how we got started on this conversation was about the goats. They've done it.
Yeah.
But we, at least in the Middle Ohio Valley, it's obviously been tried multiple times.
It's tough because
over the past
states,
10 years.
I see a lot of that.
None of it never came to fruition.
Yeah.
In my early time with the Middle Ohio Valley Disc Golf Club, I kind of pushed Scott and Mike to go that direction, and I'll never forget the quote Mike. I mean, of course, Mike Buchanan hasn't been around for years, but like the quote that Mike gave me back in the early day was like, "Hey, man, this is the way we've done it. This is the way it's always gonna. This way it's always been done, and this way it is gonna be. Nothing's gonna change it." And then you guys tried it, when you came on the scene, and that it's just tough.
Yeah,
it's just tough.
I was immature when I tried.
Try. Just go up there.
I was a lot more immature when I tried last time.
Yeah, we talked about it. Today.
Yeah.
Just
roll
over now.
Yeah, I think that was a huge part of it, and I don't know. I feel like it could work. And there's so many, people that are so involved around here. We have like at least 15 or 20 guys at this point. Whereas when I first showed up, there was like 5, that are, doing a ton of stuff for disc golf around here. I think we need to bring those minds together, and not to grow disc golf. I don't, I'm kind of with you.
Slow the sport.
We already have enough courses.
You heard it here,
They're
folks.
just not, a lot of them don't have tee pads. A lot of them don't have good signage that, tells you where to go.
That is one thing that is a little frustrating to me. With
me too. And, and
footage.
I'm
just referring to like courses like Veterans and Mount Wood. Not all the concrete tee pads are done at Veterans, and I've talked to Travis a little bit about it recently because I know that I'm gonna have time here this year. But I would like to see that get finished. I mean, that course has been there for almost
like
9
crazy.
years now, and it's not. You have a state championship there,
yes,
and not all the tee pads are concrete.
Right.
You know,
And it really is.
There's been money raised for concrete tee pads there in the past. I mean, I put a raffle on back in the day where me and Jonah donated it was a lot of stuff. I mean, I think we raised like $1,500, $2,000, and that went into tee pads. But that was back in like 14, 15, you know. So, but I don't know, you know, because the Mid Ohio Valley Disc Golf Club, I don't even know where it stands right now. You know, I haven't spoke to Scott in a while. I've heard he's running club events, but not really advertising them. So I don't know, what the deal is there. But
a lot of it is because some of the courses that he used to run them on weren't allowing last year. They weren't allowing anything.
Yeah, I know.
So he just
that.
kind of, you know, if it was able to just run a small event with, you know, no publicity, he'd just try to do that.
I've heard that there's money. I still heard that there's money out there to pay for it. So I don't know, who we need to speak to or what needs to get, you know.
Well, we're definitely going to do the state championship this year. Him and I have been talking about it. Josh and I have talked about it quite a bit, and he's just really trying to round up the necessary members at this point, which is another reason why we need a club. He shouldn't have to round up people. The club should just run this. It's a state championship.
Right. Nobody's reached out to me.
Yeah.
I live right across the street from the course.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll talk to him.
I'll gladly help.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to see if there is going to be a state tournament there. I would love to see the concrete tee pads get put in.
Yeah,
even if they are put in by buying 20 bags of concrete and putting them in by hand one at a time.
I've been there.
A lot of those tee pads are accessible, and I'll readily. I mean, I've kind of you know, back in the day, kind of just removed myself from the club scene, you know. For certain reasons.
I'll show up, man.
I'll be there. Yeah.
I'm all about, you know, when I have availability, you know,
I'm
between
not
my
afraid
work
to
and
drive
everything,
through
I
those
wasn't
woods.
available, and part of me didn't want to be available, but
Yeah.
now I'm back. I'm
Cool.
I'm
Awesome,
back and ready,
man.
and,
I like that.
you know,
Yeah, me
but
too.
you know, if there's money and there's organization, I mean, we did at one point in time have a concrete truck come up there and you know and dump them in, you know, and we all helped out. We were all there. We put a ton in that one day that you know that they brought the truck in.
James and I first met pouring blue for hole 1.
Yeah.
That's one of the first times we had a conversation.
Yeah.
You and I poured a tee pad.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I can finish a tee pad. I'm a concrete finishing fool.
I do not know anything about.
You don't
concrete
have.
other
You don't
than
have to. Just
setting,
mix it.
setting sleeves in the ground. That's my extent of.
Well, that's great.
Doing
'Cause I hate
concrete on
that
my
part.
course. Yeah, putting sleeves in, I can do that. Just throw
Yeah.
some dry quickcrete down there, pour some water in it.
Yeah.
When it comes to finishing and mixing, I have no experience in that, but I'm willing to
I've done
do the
way
labor.
more than I've ever wanted.
Have
Let's
you
put
and
it
I
that
ever?
way.
Have you and I ever done any concrete work, James? We poured my garage pad 11
that's fun.
yards.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a hard one because we.
You did that by all just bags of concrete?
No.
No,
okay.
the truck
No.
came.
Okay. I was
But
like,
we had to screen it
That's how
out.
to mix the concrete.
No, we built the forms
Yeah,
and
it was a
called the
weird
truck,
temperature
and
day and
it was
all
cold
that.
in November.
Yeah, the temperature made it tough. It was like setting up before it was really drying. You know, it wasn't really drying as it was
And
setting
then
up.
I had to wait for it to dry and then block.
Yeah.
The block was almost impossible because it was so cold.
Jeez. Yeah, I forgot all about that, Jim.
Good times, right?
Struggle is
It
real.
was, yeah. Jim and I have definitely put some work in. It's fun.
For sure.
That's kind of, I know one thing, when I'm out working with Jim, that's that motivation I was telling you about. When you see someone else working, when you take a break and someone else keeps working, you're like, oh, I can't keep taking a break. I can't watch them work, That to me is more motivating than anything, and that's part of why I see, a club. And again, it's not because here's what I find around here is that there's so much maintenance on all these courses,
That's why we need to stop building them. There shouldn't be building it anymore.
No, we don't need them,
But you can fix the ones that are
we
there.
can fix the ones that are there, in a way.
Mountainwood Park is atrocious for what it could be.
Yeah, I went out there earlier I want to think January with Jeff. I went out with Jeff Strong, and there's a couple trees down and some spots that need some chainsaw work, but man, that course to
Just
me
the flow of it for the property there, it could be redone, man.
Yeah, there's one section that to me doesn't make sense flow wise that could be just easily altered, but I think that piece of property has the potential to be the best course around.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
I mean, without a doubt.
You could choose any one of those fingers of the hillside going back, even just in that valley that it's in. If you go the other way and just like walk up the creek, like where was it 9 is over there on that edge past
go
the
back
park.
go back in that
You just
cut.
go straight back that way.
Yeah.
You go up on the hill all the way back and turn back around. You
I
can do
like
4
a lot of the
holes.
holes as it is right now. There's just, I mean, I'm not a fan of
The
that.
walk through from what is it, like 12 to
From 10 to
13 or 13 to
walk-
14?
Playing 10, I mean, well, if it's in the long pin, you're kind of walking halfway up the hill, but you still got to climb to the top to play 11 down.
Yeah.
You know, you're walking up to play back down.
Yeah.
And then you do it on 15 to play.
You know, as steep as the Sasquatch is, I
Yeah.
never made you do that. You
Yeah.
don't have to
Right.
for what's there.
For sure.
Like
You
going
you
up
make your way
that.
up the top of the hill, but you don't.
That's right.
You don't walk it
I'm not
straight
gonna-
up to come right back down.
I'm gonna
immediately.
cut. I'm gonna cut you slow, not. You get to hold 10. You want to go home. Is this the bike path back to the parking lot?
Yeah. I should have brought, like, I have old video, like, I have video of me and Scott walking veterans, like, when there's, like, nothing.
Oh,
Cool.
I mean, like, he's like, this is hole number 2, and it's just like, Briars, this is hole number 3, and we're playing, we're throwing discs, like, practice baskets. I've got some footage, and I've got footage of, like, back in 2008, me and Jonah playing the
so
original
cool.
Broughton's course
yeah.
from 2008. I'm sitting on some old stuff
Yeah.
that I might release out to the world one day.
Johnny Size.
Yes,
So-
we played his course. That was a long guy.
Buckeye hole
Yeah,
3.
what is this?
Yeah, this is
8 years
so
ago.
that would that'd be what? Yeah, there's me playing in
I
jeans.
remember
Me
when I
playing in
played
jeans.
it,
You'll never
yeah.
see that anymore.
To the snake pit.
Yeah.
To the snake habitat area. Yep, hole number 3. Is that hole number 3? Is that
Yeah.
what that was?
I got the map on the wall, but I
It's
couldn't.
the old green wraith that I used to throw. I used to love that disc. I threw it in the
Here's
water.
my basket. That's in my yard right
Well, that's
now.
a loser if I ever saw
Oh,
one.
there's my first order of head change disc golf stamp order. And, man, we're going back way back here.
That was in there.
Oh, there's my trip with Corey down to the USDGC.
Oh, I got a bunch of those stamps.
Yep. There's about 160 of those stamps floating out there in the
Wow.
world. Yeah.
I have a world.
That's cool.
Yeah, man, I was bummed, dude. Like that. Oh, there's the collar dance disc golf course down there, Ace hole number 5. There's the Ace I was telling you about earlier, in the woods there with AK. I think it was like 150 feet, 175 feet.
Oh, wow.
Hey!
I just dropped right in
Just
from
drop
that
right in
tree.
the old
That's
practice
great.
basket.
Hole 5.
Yeah.
And where is this?
Oh yeah.
This was the temporary golf course I set up at the music festival.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. That was a fun experience, man. I think that weekend I only had maybe 15, 20 people play it, but it was worth it, you know.
Yeah.
There's the trip from Corey down to USDGC I was talking about there earlier. Corey I was one of his first sponsors back in the day. He was one of our first sponsor. Yeah, right there.
Oh, with Dark
right
Gold.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the practice round. Josh Smith.
Oh yeah.
was with us there. He was also playing. Johnny was with us on that
No, that's cool.
trip. And this was the practice round, you know. So this was pretty cool. I got to play the course that was set up for the USDGC
The
that
three-way.
year.
The
Yeah.
man.
I wasn't playing in the tournament.
Ah.
You know, we got to play the setup.
Yes,
Corey
Corey,
and
yeah.
Josh was playing.
Yeah.
You know, so that that was a fun experience.
You missed it.
Yep.
Man, I have a story. I'm not going to tell the story on the podcast, but I'll tell you guys later. There was this incident on this hole on the first round with Corey and Corey's dad, Greg. Man, it's a funny one. They laugh about it, but I'll tell you sometime, man. It's a good one. Let's just say if your disc goes into the woods there at the back,
Yeah.
Oh.
you are not allowed to retrieve your disc.
Really?
It's a protected habitat area.
Oh.
Oh.
And let's just say Corey retrieved his disc,
Right.
and that led to some drama
Oh no.
during the first round. I mean, like it all worked out
Sure.
in the end, but
Yeah.
it was an experience to say the least. That was a fun hole there. That one up there, the Kanawha Valley Disc Golf Ice Bowl. That was a mound. They put a hole on top of
Oh my
a
goodness.
Oh.
Look at this.
This thing is like straight.
Look at that
Oh.
hole.
Yikes.
That was one of the coolest holes I've ever played. So yeah,
Is that a real mound?
that is a mound? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they just dug a hole in it.
Yeah. Just put it right there on the
Sons
top.
of bitches.
So like you missed your putt, you're just rolling. You're rolling. I think it was probably like 30, 40 feet high.
Look at him
It was
climb.
crazy. Yeah, that was a fun tournament. There it was one that Steve Kepsel, down there in
Yeah.
Charleston area that he ran. Almost a foot fault there.
That's right. That would have rolled away on me.
Man, you're watching these. I haven't seen watch these videos in years, man.
Oh, we go deep.
You're
Yeah.
you're taking me way
We
back.
go deep.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. No chains.
There's another one. Click the railing there. So like at that tournament, same tournament, you threw from the railing, to this basket on
I
a
know
golf
that.
on a golf
Yeah, I
green.
know that. Where is that? That's in Charleston, right?
That's in Dunbar. I
Yeah,
believe.
I remember that pool.
Oh.
I remember
Yeah,
walking
that
down
was a
this.
fun shot.
thing
And
right
then go
here.
back to there was another one that was really fun where you had to throw over a lake. I do believe maybe I think I have that on there. Scroll up a little bit.
This one?
Yeah, that one right there. That's it. That was a fun shot. They tucked the basket across the lake there.
Right there.
So you could throw out over the water, which was a fun shot.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it stayed. It was stable.
Oh, wow.
It was a fun shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
got,
great.
Got legs there
That
at
was
the
a fun. That
end.
was a fun tournament. Yeah. I always like those temporary, setups.
Me
they have.
too.
I've always wanted to do one at the disc golf of golf club of West Virginia.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
right out the road from my house.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to work there as a kid. I worked there for
Sure.
6 years.
Yeah.
I was a cart boy
Yeah.
back
That's
there,
cool.
and John Opplinger is still the pro there. I
Yeah.
actually saw him at the gas
Sure.
station the other day. I was like, "Do you remember me?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Come on, man!" I was like, "I was your first cart boy out of the golf club." And he's like, "Oh, you remember me?" But yeah, that's Lee did that a couple years ago. Oh, that's in the water.
Yeah.
Lee did that at the Worthington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have 18
He really-
baskets now.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
all portable. It's like, man, if
Yeah.
I could find a course that would let us do something like that.
Yeah.
Sasquatch is portable if you want to go out
Pick
there and
up
pick
all
them
my
up.
baskets,
Yeah.
and take them to a course of some sort.
Right.
Here's one, the skipper off the water down here. This is
Yeah.
fun when the Veterans Park froze over.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I went out that one day.
Boy, we have made a weird sound. We got that on video.
And I was trying to do the skip off the lake, but it just went. I mean, it made it across. It just stayed about a foot off the ice.
Yeah.
Let's see that again.
And that's the old flick that cracked on me. That disc
Oh.
there's one I broke on. This cracked on me a couple days ago on my
Yeah.
course. Hit a tree and just split right down the middle. That old plastic, as you said. Man,
Hippo.
yeah, I went up there and did a course walkthrough for the Hippo. Back in, of course, I think that course has probably changed since then.
Yeah,
Multiple
it has.
times. Yeah.
There's
Another-
Have you ever heard of Jordan Castro?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So Jordan Castro, right there, he was on Corey's card the first round of the USGGC performance flight. So
Okay.
Oh, wow.
first I met Jordan, and this is his shot on hole number 17. I think this was his second shot. I think the first shot he threw went out of bounds, and this one he got in. But yeah, that's when I met Jordan, and that's when he was up and coming. I think that either that year or the year prior, he had placed high in Am Worlds
Yeah.
up there in Minnesota. I think that's where he's from, and that was kind of the beginning of his career. So him and Corey played on the same card there that first round, and now they're kind of Jordan's really blown up over the scene the past couple of years.
Yeah.
He's been able to put the time in and and tour.
Right.
Been talking to Corey here lately. That's his goal next year. He's trying to
Yeah.
be able to make it out west.
Sweet.
Play like in Oregon and hit
Yeah.
all the big MTs up. He's really striving to be on that elite team for Discraft, so that way he can
Nice.
have everything paid for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember this
For
one?
sure.
Yeah, this was hole number 9, or is this hole 18?
18.
Yeah, hole 18 at the old
Yeah.
Rotten's set up.
I miss that hole. There's
Yeah,
a building
yeah.
sitting right
Me and
there.
Travis
now.
playing in jeans. You'll
Yeah.
never see that ever again.
Yeah.
That's just what we did back in the day.
Yeah. Got off work and
Yeah.
go play.
Yeah. My sweet transition.
I like that. Yeah.
You know,
I was catching
God, I
that.
can't remember. Gosh, he's taking me back. Travis is wearing a welder's hat there, and he trailed. Oh,
Nice.
Yes.
Boy, those were thick back then, weren't they?
yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Mhm.
They were way thinner.
From the hip. Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Well, have you guys had enough?
I think
Man,
so.
I'm
2
good.
hours, man. We
Man,
did it.
Did we set
That
the
was a
record?
good one.
I know you had a couple.
I'm pretty sure that's the record.
Oh, record.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I
Yeah.
didn't shut up. I talked over you the whole time.
No, it was a great talk. Man, I learned a lot of stuff. It's
Some
kind of
little
neat.
history.
Yeah, I've always been kind of curious how everything developed in this area.
I mean, I don't know if you can ever get Scott on here. Scott can give you the.
Oh, I'm dying to
The
it.
true
I've been-
history,
I've been,
Yeah.
I've been bugging
you
him
know,
for weeks
I
now.
come
Yeah.
in, years after they started. There was
Right.
there was a group of guys that were around that a lot of them I don't even know.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
You know, like
Dave
like-
Smith.
like the disc
Yeah.
pimp, like
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
never met him.
Yeah.
Just heard about him.
There's a
I
guy
think
from
twice.
Marietta
He
named
was on
Dave
my
Smith
card
that
twice.
wasn't responsible for Buckeye.
Yeah.
Gave me the keys to the locks on the baskets.
Yeah, I've heard of Dave. Never met him.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I've been around, but not as long as there's a couple
Yeah.
around here that that know the true history.
Well, we appreciate you coming, man. Good luck
Yeah,
with your
for
tournament.
sure.
We're gonna be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Please do.
Welcome to the Disc Golf Collective.
Are you gonna play open, Jimmy? Are you gonna play advanced?
Advanced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's nobody signed up for advanced
If
right now.
that, I might be intermediate because I
Okay.
think I dropped 2 points.
That's
I think
fine.
I'm below
I think
9
right
on
now in intermediate, if they all play, I've got John, Noah, and Josh.
Yeah, that's my
That
my
are-
crew.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
your crew. You know.
Yeah.
Assuming they can
Noah
come
beat me
and
the other day.
I'll throw your guys' name in intermediate there.
All right.
And
Sounds
John says he's hoping to have like 4 or 5 people come. He said Brittany's going to
Yeah.
play, so
Cool.
we may get to 20 people.
Awesome.
We may get to 30 people.
Yeah.
Even if we only have 10 people, to me,
I have a feeling you're
that's-
going to be surprised.
yeah.
I really do.
I think I think setting it up as the flex start,
Yeah.
is a little confusing, but we'll see.
We're gonna have a
Yeah.
good time.
We'll see.
For sure.
Well, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You guys have a good night. Thanks for.
Look, check out Mall Bright Pines on Facebook.
3.
First one.
That was awesome. That's great.